Fore players by Barstool Sports. It is a late Monday night recording for us. Players Championship, Cam Smith, all kinds of good stuff to talk about. Probably the craziest tournament when you consider everything. Definitely in the history of the Players Championship, potentially in the history of the PGA Tour, in the history of me watching the PGA Tour. We had fucking everything from a wild finish with a million different guys that could win to a 2-day rain delay to Saturday afternoon, complete and utter chaos like I've never seen before in PGA Tour golf. Brandel Chamblee taking all kinds of heat for just going in on the 17th hole and how shitty of a golf hole it is, which we're going to debate that. So it had a little bit of everything. I would say the most positive news from us for the week is our guy Kevin Kisner finished solo fourth for $980,000 Wad Wednesday that he's going to get. So a great week for Kiz. He did that despite being on the bad end of the draw. We also have Chris Lane on this show. We have new springtime merch, which we have to plug. We have Max Homa, 4-man Scramble that comes out tonight, which we have to plug. So we got a lot going on. Rory, One Club, comes out next Tuesday. So as usual, we're going to go nuts. We're going to have this crazy show. We're going to bicker and probably fight and disagree. And then, boom, we're just going to continue with more shit next week, more shit tomorrow. It just keeps rolling. But, boys, what a golf tournament.
What a golf tournament.
An
We also
golf
didn't
tournament.
add the awkward drop situation, which I really stand with Victor Hovland on that. That was as epic as it could be. To hold your ground on that is like really hard. So just an exceptional, I don't know what you call, I guess 5 days of golf. It was a 5-day golf tournament. It was awesome.
Really weird, just mindset watching golf. You never knew what was actually happening. If you stepped away from the TV maybe for the morning or the afternoon and you came back, you're like, wait a minute, what round is this? Are they still playing round one?
Yeah.
It's like Saturday. Like, wait, are they playing round two now? What's happening? I never fully grasped exactly what was happening. And then you could tell that they did a little bit of last minute graphics changes to all of the leaderboards because they had to just write second round, like on top of all the leaderboards, and third round, like everything was very prominent and in your face.
Highlighted. They're like highlighting it so you can fucking figure out what it is. How
bad the graphics package? I thought the graphics,
God.
just to finish, I thought the graphics package this year was awesome. How maybe it's just something about the color scheme with the players, but the gold, every time someone on the leaderboard hit, they would kind of highlight his name on the gold.
I love
in
that.
the leaderboard so that you knew exactly where on the leaderboard who was actually hitting. And they were so up to date with it that even if they'd flash to a putt that was already in motion, that name on the leaderboard would be highlighted. So you're like, oh, that was Paul Casey's putt. And then they'd switch to another guy. So great job this week in a crazy, shitty situation by the broadcast team. Everything was seamless. We saw a lot of shots. I thought that was fantastic.
How bad does the PGA Tour just want a consistently normal flagship event? 2 years ago, the world stopped, and it was in the middle of the tournament, and nobody knew what was happening. Yeah. There was just no winner that year. Last year was more normal, but not as normal as,
Dude, they played one round of golf 2 years ago, and then they just quit the tournament. Remember that?
It feels like we talk about this a lot, I guess, but like it feels like it was longer ago than that. But I certainly remember. You remember the events that were surrounding the moment when it felt like everything stopped. Like the players was certainly that. I remember there were NBA games that night that they canceled, and it felt Adam Silver put out a statement where he was like, "We're canceling games because we don't know what's going on." Those things stick in your mind, and the players is certainly up there. And then you just, like I said, you have that, and then last year was strange, and it's probably going to continue to be strange, but this year was the most normal in terms of the COVID protocols. And then it rained, like you guys said, for 48 hours. I just never knew when it was going to stop. And they kept showing the radar, which in a circumstance like that, you almost don't want to, because you couldn't even see the end of the orange and yellow. It was just a blob on top of the golf course. And you're like, well, I don't want to see that, because now it looks like we're not going to finish until Wednesday. So it was certainly the strangest viewing experience, and I'm sure it was one of the stranger tournaments for the players themselves. But, it's you can't do it. It's an outdoor sport. You can't really do much about it.
It was also insane because they were asking players to get like 2 holes in and tee off at like 6:30, and it's like, no, we need you to play like 3 holes now. The whole thing was preposterous. But I will say, like Riggs, you tweeted about it. I think a lot of people were tweeting about it. It was fascinating watching them navigate the golf course. JT played around with no bogeys. People are like, that's the best round of golf that's maybe ever been played. Like, it was just fascinating to watch these guys navigate this place. It was exceptional, but obviously wonky the whole way through.
Yeah, we got a lot. We just got a lot to get to. We haven't even touched on Goldman. Goldman, we got to get down. I want to hear who liked Goldman, who hated him. My poor father, and my brother were in town this week. They're like the handy guys in the family. I'm not. So they were here working on the new house, working on different stuff. My poor dad, every time he'd walk back to the TV on Saturday afternoons, like, so kid's hitting this shot here, like, so is this a fourth round? And I'm like, this is like, we're halfway through kind of the first round almost. And he's like, so, and then he'd be like, all right. And then he'd go like work on the door for a couple hours. He'd come back and be like, oh, there is this. So he's finishing up. When's the final round? And I'm like, dude, we don't know. So far from that. We don't know. He's like,
he went back to fix Tuesday? That door too. He's like fixing that door, being like, what is going on in that room? Like, I'm trying to put this brace on, but like, what is happening over there? It says his tee time's at 6:17. Somebody tell me what's going on over there.
That's right. He goes, so he's on the first hole. And I'm like, yeah, it's the beginning of like his third round. And he's like, well, it's about to be dark. And I was like, yeah. He's not going to finish. And he's like, all right. And I knew and I didn't know. I'm kind of like trying to explain it to him, and I don't really know. And then you had guys who are like, they're starting in the front, finishing kind of on the front nine their first round while other guys are midway through their it was just fucking chaos the whole time. And then Saturday with the golf, I want to go through a lot of like shot by shot of JT's round and some of the clubs that he was hitting. So we got a ton to get to. First, we got to talk about Celsius. Celsius helps you stay active and energized all day. We're talking about Celsius energy drink made with premium ingredients, 0 sugar, 7 essential vitamins, not like a traditional energy drink. We got watermelon, grape, mango, passion fruit, a lot of really good flavors. I am a huge strawberry guava. You guys like that term? Guava?
Guava.
Yeah, strawberry guava. That's probably my favorite flavor. I like strawberry. Strawberry is really good. They also have different product lines for all situations, including Celsius Heat, which includes caffeine to help boost energy. We all like a little caffeine boost occasionally to overcome any challenges. Celsius BCAA Plus Energy, which helps you recover after a workout. If anybody works out, I don't think we do on this show. Celsius On The Go, which are small powder packets in all their different flavors. You can just add it to your water bottle whenever you need a boost and you are ready to rock. Go over to Celsius.com to find a store near you, or you can order online at Amazon, Walmart, or Target. Celsius, live fit. And again, remember back in the day when we would have energy drinks growing up, playing hockey, playing baseball, whatever, football, you'd kind of take down these energy drinks thinking that they're really good. Turns out they weren't. Celsius is good. It's got all kinds of good ingredients, nutrients, all kinds of good stuff for you. So go to Celsius.com, find a store near you, or order online, Amazon, Walmart, or Target. Celsius is a great product. Big thanks to them for supporting us. Couple promo things, then we're going to get right into it. Merchandise. We're wearing all kinds of cool merch right now. Just a real natural video that we put out of us in our natural habitats, doing normal things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Happen to capture it on camera, and Frankie kind of described it and explained it to people. So I hope folks saw that video. But we have new merchandise stored at barstoolsports.com. It's a little bit of pink. There might be some flower-shaped things. Might be green. Might be yellow.
It's the spring season.
I don't remember
it's a season like no other. It's just as simple as that.
That's right.
It's colorful, makes you feel good. Still sort of hoodie weather. Like, we're putting it out on sale now because there's a big golf tournament coming up, and you kind of still have
Valspar. Valspar's next week.
That's right. Valspar's next week.
Paint company too. A lot of colors over there.
I've been dealing with a lot of paint and colors recently, and swatches and hanging stuff up against the wall. Oh, that's a light gray. So yeah, we have a lot of colorful stuff right now.
You going with a lot of light gray? Light gray's in for painting rooms right now. I feel.
Bro, I saw maybe 50 variations of the color gray, to the point where I looked at everyone in the room and said, "We all agree that there's no difference between any of these, correct?" At all. And then like the way the light hits a certain room. And then we ended up painting them, and then like each room looks different because of the way the light hits it. It makes me want to puke. But all I know, what doesn't make me want to puke, is this new spring collection. Dude, all of these polos, I don't have them with me right now. I wore them yesterday. That
Keep talking.
Flower polo is so good and fits so good. I mean, I wore it in that video. I don't think I've ever looked that good in a polo in my life. I had my little dog inside the basket riding the bicycle.
The dog was too much. The dog was so good. The dog was modeling too. The dog was looking. It looked really good.
I think any dog that I've ever had growing up would not cooperate in a situation like that. Just would not sit in the basket.
He was just like, all right. He got walked by my dad that day, and then he was bringing back out. Like my dad was walking him in his little route that he goes. He's like, all right, something's going on because this is the second time they're bringing me out here. And then he's just standing on the street, and he goes, why is there a bike there? You could just tell. He's like, what's about to happen? And we picked him up and put him in that basket, and I swear to God, he looked back at me and just goes, what the fuck are you doing right now?
Yeah, what is
He
this?
tilted his head. He goes, now why the fuck am I in this basket right now? It's 7:00 at night, and I'm supposed to be sitting on my really fluffy bed in the basement right now. I don't know why I'm in this.
Now.
And we've got this one of peaches, and just go if you're watching on YouTube right now. You saw what he just held up, and the hoodies are great, the hats are great. Our merch team absolutely murders this stuff.
These little windbreaker things, I didn't even know we were making.
Oh my God, white windbreaker. Pink windbreaker. They are break downable. You can break those down. You can put them in your golf bag. So they can be folded into like the smallest little square you've ever seen in your entire life. Throw them in your golf bag. Nights for days like you saw at TPC Sawgrass when the wind is howling, the rain is coming in sideways. You throw that thing on. Man, it feels good. We got the umbrellas. Yeah, dude. And that B with the cross T's underneath it is fantastic. It's a really great logo.
Slaps, as the young folks say. So go check it out. Store.barstoolsports.com. Thank you for buying our stuff. We see it all over the place. It means a lot. Rory McIlroy next week, one club. I know a lot of people are antsy. How did you tease the end of the Rory driving video with the one club and then not give it to us? A week from today, next Tuesday, you will get the Rory one club. Tonight, I believe, are we going 8 p.m. Eastern Standard United States time, or what time are we going? Anybody know? Anybody chime in?
Wait a minute. No, tonight they're getting Max Homa.
Is Max Homa. That's what I was going to say. So next week is the Rory One Club. Tonight is Mr. Max Homa, one of the more anticipated videos we've ever done. It was awesome. I already, again, feel like I forgot a lot of the things that happened. Like that was 10 years ago. It was like 2 weeks ago that we filmed this amazing match against Max Homa, one of the best players in the world. He's won 3 times in the last, year and a half, 2 years. He won twice last calendar year. He had a couple top 10, I think, or top 10 finishes leading up to his match against us, playing a golf course he'd never played before. We had probably 100 or so fans out there, a little bit of an open bar, open cart girl, so people were a little, they're getting liquored up, if you want to say it that way, and the crowd was rowdy. It was an awesome match, probably the best match start to finish we've ever been a part of.
Yeah, E-Bug, who's editing it right now. Shout out to E-Bug, Brendan, Avery, that fucking Ranger fan. They did a great job filming. E-Bug's editing right now. He said it's so good you won't believe it when you're watching it because he's able to kind of edit it like it's a real golf match with a lot of crowd noise, stop the music, feel the moment. I texted him yesterday, I said, dude, in this edit, let's just feel the moment. And he goes, the moment's being felt, dude. Like when someone steps up to the tee on like the 17th or the 18th tee box, or the 15th tee box or the first tee box, I want to feel it. The crowd, I want to feel everyone there. And he's like, bro, you feel it. He said that he cried at one point. Like he was tearing up.
Love to hear that.
So, yeah, and if you watched us on social media that day, you could probably know which part that was, and it was a very emotional, amazing moment, and it's going to be one of the all-time, the way it was captured, it's one of the all-time foreplay moments. Even Jake vouched for that. So tonight's going to be a very fun night of viewing. Get your popcorn ready, get your beers, get your own mixers, sit down, throw it on the TV. It's HD, it's 4K, it looks amazing on the TV. Sit there on the couch, watch it with us. Get it on your phone, get the chat going on your phone, subscribe. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers. We're going to give something away at the 200,000 mark. What a great time to be subscribed to the YouTube page. I mean, an absolute fucking, just a train right now. Just a locomotive just barreling through towns. It's like the movie Train.
And then we also have...
Can't be stopped.
Speaking of train, we got Chris Lane. A little rhyme action for the fellas from Foreplay Golf Podcast. Excellent, excellent musician. Puts out banger after banger. I think I read through 3 different songs he has that have over 100 million streams on Spotify alone. He's on tour every night. He's on tour. He talks a lot about playing golf, his schedule. how he likes to, even when he's on tour, get out, track down, play as many courses as he can in the morning. And then we love getting into the music. Everybody listens to music, obviously, no matter what genre you listen to something. Him talking about writing songs, him talking about being on stage, the adrenaline rush, the nervousness in the early days of seeing guys that are his idols, and then ultimately playing with them. The whole thing that we went through was great. What are you guys chuckling
Trent and
about?
I are just laughing because we're thinking of Dan Soder's joke. Yeah. Man, I knew you were thinking about that. Dan Soder tells a joke. He's like, there are people out there that don't like music. He's like, can you believe that? Like, turn that thing down. They can't imagine a world without music. He's like, they like to just drive in cars and roll down one window just enough so it sounds like you're giving yourself an inner ear infection.
Until a weird pressure builds.
Yeah. He goes, they sit on long drives until a weird pressure builds in their ear like they have an inner ear infection. God, that's a funny guy. But yeah, Chris Lane, man, that guy's got the juice. He's I looked at his Instagram too after we interviewed him, and he's just like doing the thing. He's very active on social, so like he'll post a lot of stuff behind the stage, and like, you know, like as he's walking up. Yeah, like as he's walking up to stage, like he puts up like pretty cool stuff, like a lot of crowd shots. I actually enjoyed flipping through his Instagram. He wasn't like he's an open book when it comes to like his journey, which I thought was pretty cool.
I never want to bring this up when he's on the show. I think this is the second time we've had him on, but his wife, who he's married to, who he now has a kid with, was on The Bachelor and won The Bachelor one season, and then ended up breaking up with the guy who clearly, obviously, was The Bachelor. So I'm very aware of that part of his life. But I know it feels like a very strange thing to bring up when we have him on the show, because I'm like, hey, remember when your wife was on that dating show and ended up with the guy and then they broke up? But like that's what's going on there.
You should have said it just like that, Trent. I think it would have resulted really comfortably.
There's no easy way to bring that up. And then today, it was even more like that because he used his wife's laptop and it said Lauren Bushnell on the bottom. And I was like, I know who that is. I watched an entire season of TV with that person.
So is that how the terminology of you are selected is you won The Bachelor?
Yeah, that's how we say it. It's probably not the most
like you win Survivor or something.
Yeah, it's not the most romantic way to say it, but that's what we
like
say.
Someone standing on the top of the mountain with like the gold belt, they're like, I won The Bachelor.
I actually met his wife at Zach Johnson's charity foundation in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, because the Ben Higgins, who was the Bachelor, whose season it was, he's friends with Zach and he's a golfer, and he went. And we, I met him there. You guys met Ben Higgins too. You met him down in Orlando at the LPGA tournament.
We had this exact conversation walking around the putting green, you and I. When we met Ben Higgins, you're like, oh, I know the girl that he was with on Bachelor, who's now married to Chris Lane. I said, wow. And now we interviewed Chris Lane, and now it all clicks.
Speaking of Zach Johnson, when is that drip going to figure out how to take a practice swing?
It's now to the point where it's just a thing. It's kind of, I think it's like the yips to him. You know what I mean? Where now I think it's definitely going to happen again, and it's probably going to happen again after that. I don't see this ending now.
It's almost like he's trolling us. I mean, this is ridiculous. Just don't hit the golf ball.
I think it's a mental tick now.
No, there's something going. Yeah, there's something going on up there. He laced that thing off that tee box.
He almost killed somebody.
It's getting more aggressive too. It's getting more violent. Like at the Masters, he just kind of bump, and then the second time it was kind of a bump. At the Players, it was a rocket.
Bro, the sound was like pure contact.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with him, but that's our captain.
Stop practicing so close to the golf ball. Just
move away.
Just a little further away.
It's one of those things, though, where probably in his head he's further away than he thinks, and it just every time he can't get far enough away from that ball, but he still hits it. That's how I guarantee that's how it is in his mind.
Little mental note: if you can reach it, you're just too close. So just not be able to reach the golf ball, and you'll be fine.
His reaction was all the time with like he just turned around and just went four times. He had no idea to react. He watched it hit some like old man's shin, like the guy's rolling on the ground. And he just turns back to the camera and goes, that's 4 times. 4 times I've done that now.
All right, we got to get into the Players' Championship. We spoke a ton last week on Thursday about how the PGA Tour was thriving, shining this week. This is their signature event, their flagship event. Their commissioner, Jay Monahan, had clearly scored a victory in the last few weeks leading into this against the, thwarted. He thwarted these attempts of the league backed by the Saudis, represented by Greg Norman and Phil Mickelson, who was doing a lot of recruiting on the side to essentially shut down the resistance, get all of his top players to commit their loyalty, pledge their allegiance to the PGA Tour. He remained publicly mostly silent, Jay Monahan, and then during his presser and during his interview with Mike Tirico, he just took very bold, very confident, very cocky, I would say, victory laps, as he should have. It was a good win for the PGA Tour. He talked about how great it's going to be. The next 10 years are going to be the greatest 10 years in the history of the PGA Tour. Money, all kinds of money for people, all kinds of broadcasting. Gambling is going to be incorporated. It's great, great, great. And then the tournament starts and just fucking rain. It rained. They played for a few hours Thursday, and then they did not play again from Thursday afternoon until Saturday at noon. It took 54 hours and 16 minutes from the beginning of the first round to complete the first round, which is outrageous. Goldman, we got introduced for the first time to Goldman, which is the PGA Tour's graphic, I get what they call it, blurred reality or something. I can't remember the term that they use. Mixed. I think they said mixed reality.
Augmented reality.
They didn't use augmented. They used like mixed or something, but that's basically what it was. It was using real golf shots, and then they would superimpose in there the guy from the fucking trophy, Goldman, who was hitting these shots. Goldman got to hit Tigers better than most putt. Goldman got to hit, I think, the ace on the 17th tee at TPC Sawgrass. Goldman got to squeegee the fucking green off on 17. Goldman was just kind of doing a little bit of it all. And at first, it was preposterous. It was ridiculous. I'm curious. I want to go each person's just general reaction and feelings, judgments, if you will, about the newly introduced Goldman.
I love it, but probably not for the reason that they want me to love it.
It's a great point.
That's my reaction.
It's a great take. It's almost so I'm the same way. I couldn't get enough of it for the same reason why on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, when they have those outrageous cartoons with like Eli Manning would be driving a bus and like someone else would be pushing it with like a tutu on, and none of it makes sense. Literally none of it makes sense, but you have to watch it. You're like, you kind of remember that it is entertainment, and whoever made that kind of got a chuckle out of it. And they're like, all right, it's just golf. It's a golf tournament. They're hitting golf balls into a hole. How do we make it somewhat conversational? And they did. I mean, Goldman fucking delivered. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. Every time it was on, I got a chuckle, and that's all I needed it to be. I saw other people, other podcasts on the internet being like, this is a disgrace to the game of golf and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. You could put a fucking Ferris wheel out there. I wouldn't give a fuck. It's just a broadcast. I don't care.
I would say, do you think it's a one and done though? I was like, all right, like hit a couple shots.
People thought it was a one and done. People thought it was a one and done with like the Nickelodeon slime NFL games, the wild card games. Dude, those things are must watch. When they kick a field goal and SpongeBob comes down from in between the goalposts and they slime the entire end zone, it's absolutely must watch.
But the
let's get
Lurch
Lurch
is
totally honest
tied to the players, like the player's character, right?
Well, no, because
I thought it was tied to the logo.
Well, right. So in theory, Goldman's face was a composite of every winner's face ever. And then like I think his swing or something was a composite of like every player's swing like ever.
Way too much work went
into
Goldman.
Lurch, I want to know your genuine like.
So based on that, I did not know that it was a blend of everybody's. Like, I love it. I think that's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's a 10 out of 10. I didn't know that when it like millions of hours of work went into the Goldman. Now I'm obsessed with the Goldman. Where like he should be everywhere. Yeah. I think prior to that, I was just like, okay, like I get the Goldman's out there. I don't know if he's really doing anything to me. But to Frankie's point, it was just, it's like anything, like with an Eli in a bus and like some guy like Justin Tuck in a skirt behind the bus. You're like, all right, like it's a joke. I get that. Now I'm really in like a mental.
I want to say like
I'm in a tornado with all that work that went into gold,
which I think means it's a success. Like the fact that you're in a tornado, people are bitching about it on the internet. We're talking about it, right? We had this amazing tournament. There's a billion things to talk about. You like have to talk about Goldman, and I will say to Frankie's point, and like I was hoping for like that clip with Joel Dahmen and Berger and Victor Hovland. Like, I thought they should have brought Goldman in as like the rules official. Like they should just go all like they should have Goldman like
what's going on over here?
The trophy.
strolls in.
I mean, like and like you said, Frankie, and Trent, like I don't love it for the reasons that they probably wanted me to love it, and I think that the person that actually created it probably in their heart of hearts thought, holy shit, is this cool? This is going to blow people away. And then every time, like when he first appeared on my TV hitting a tee shot on the 17th hole, I stood up and went, whoa, well, who is this guy? Like who is this guy hitting this shot on 17? And the graphics were just, to be frank, they were horrible. Like the way the ball rolled into the hole. We had video games 20 years ago that looked more realistic than that. So all of that combined, and then you could too, I could sense every time he came on TV, I could sense everyone rushing to their phones to bitch about it. And it was that really satisfactory sense of like, he's pissing off so many people that I just wanted them to feed me Goldman every time. And then when they cut to Tiger Woods with an iPad in his hand, and they legit took some of their time to have Tiger Woods watch Goldman hit his own putt into the hole on 17. That was a highlight of my week. I was like, this is fucking great. This is sending people off their rockers. They're going to be so mad about this. Tiger was chuckling. I couldn't be a bigger Goldman fan I want him everywhere. I want him to appear like at Augusta. I want him to like run out behind the 11th green and like take the pin out while somebody's chugging. I just need him to be involved in golf all the time because he's fantastic.
It was the shame.
That I disagree with. I think we gotta have. I only want him once a year, and so we have Goldman Day, and everybody. Oh my God, Goldman is back! It's so great to have him back in our lives.
Yes, every player's Goldman needs to come back. It's like the Shane Gillis joke where people are looking at their phone and be like, "Fucking Goldman's hitting a fucking putt now." It's just like they were getting so fucking mad. Tiger Woods is fucking looking at Goldman now. What the fuck is this?
Yes.
Okay, I want an Easter egg though, where like once a tournament, like he just appears for. He could even be in the background, like one of the guys standing up against the grandstand.
Where's Goldman?
Where's Waldo? Yeah.
Where's Goldman a little bit? And he like kind of claps as somebody makes a putt, and then like you stop on the screen. You're like, dude, there's Goldman. He's at the foul spot.
I like it.
So I kind of enjoyed that. I thought that whole aspect of it just added a lot to my coverage experience. And again, I got like anxious every time he came on. I was like, oh, people are pissed. This is a great feeling.
You are right. The graphics were horrible. Like,
terrible.
The Tiger putt, Better Than Most, was one of the worst like pieces of graphics I've ever seen come into it. That's where I was just like, all right, golf's trying this graphic thing. Personally, don't care like if it's a miss or not. Like whatever, we got the Goldman around. But they were so bad that it's almost amazing that somebody put that much time and effort into every swing, every face, because it's like they kind of missed the mark there. But I think,
that made it funnier to me. Like if he would have been super realistic, like I was watching Iron Man, it would have taken away from me. But the fact that he was literally a cartoon out there, like you or I, like whipped up fucking MS Paint and put him on the screen, that made it better for me.
Yeah,
it was so good.
A rare win for the PGA Tour.
Yeah, big win. You can have a big win. Cross Country Mortgage. Frankie had a big win. I've had a big win. Frankie's got his own guy. What's Chris? Is your guy's name Chris?
Chris Devon, just the man, the absolute man. They made getting a loan or refinancing a loan so easy. And you know what they do too? Once you actually get your loan, once you get your mortgage like done and you have it and you're in your house, they're not done with you. I'm getting emails like crazy about the value of my home now. If my neighbors or people in my town are looking to put their house on the market, they're constantly letting you know like what is the value of your home, what's the value of your market that you're in. It's fucking awesome, man. It's just so much information and it's so valuable, and they really just want you to have a nice financial future when it comes to the home buying experience. I genuinely believe that Chris Devon wants me to be like secure and not be on my ass. Like that's how the whole process, that's what I felt.
They have an average close time of just 21 days. That is ridiculously fast. They've got a wide variety of loan types, means they're going to have everything to cover everyone. We have some exciting news. They're giving away free Barstool and Cross Country Mortgage sweatshirts when you sign up to refi or get pre-approval while supplies last. Everybody likes a little bit of free swag, a little bit of free merch. Cross Country Mortgage is hooking it up. If you're ready to tee off on a loan, a little golf pun there, visit Cross Country Mortgage. Our short game may suck, but our ability to find you an awesome loan is pretty damn awesome. Sorry about that, Frankie. It was in the ad copy. I had to read it. Go to ccm.com/barstool so Cross Country Mortgage can take care of you through the buying process. Cross Country Mortgage LLC, NMLS 3029, all loans subject to underwriting approval. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. A big thanks to Cross Country Mortgage. Those people really are awesome. They care, and they're going to help you out. Okay. So they have all this rain delay, nothing they could do. It's pouring in Florida, just pouring. Course is soaked. There's puddles over the green. Can't play. Finally, the second half of the first round comes out and has to play their rounds on Saturday afternoon. The winds are 30, 35 miles an hour. This course has water and trouble everywhere. It's soft, so it's this really weird dynamic. Anytime we see super windy conditions, it's usually a British Open or something where conditions are firm and fast and they can run the ball up. Nope, not at TPC Sawgrass. It's just water everywhere. There's a fucking green that's an island, and it wreaked havoc. We saw on Thursday all day, one golf ball found the water on the 17th hole. The first 4 shots of the day on Saturday afternoon when the wind picked up, first 4 shots of the entire day went in the water, and they were 4 of the best players in the world. So you knew you were in for absolute chaos. Brooks Koepka played that hole twice. I think he's played it in the last 5 years. I believe he's 20 over par on the 17th hole. He hit both shots on Saturday into the water. We saw all kinds of guys flaring shots up into the wind and just getting completely down. Shots that were not even, when they would zoom in and you try to see where the ball would land, you couldn't even see ground. That's how far they were missing the fucking green by. It was complete and utter chaos. Scores just skyrocketed. They went straight up. To the point where Kevin Kisner said after Saturday's round that he thought like the integrity of the tournament had pretty much been lost. I knew what he meant to a degree. I knew what he meant wholly, but it obviously to any viewer probably comes off a little bit like, bitching, complaining. And it was very rare, and that on a Saturday afternoon, you could be on the wrong side of the draw because the draw is usually done by, Friday night. You have a cut, it's over. So for Saturday afternoon, for you to have a first-round bad draw was crazy because you had the people that finished up their first rounds, in the evening time on Saturday, and then they had to go back out and play again. So they had to play both of their rounds in those conditions. And then the folks that finished up on Thursday, a lot of them didn't even tee off again until Sunday morning, or at least at the very most, they played a few holes on Saturday night. So then they woke up, and Sunday wasn't the easiest conditions. It was cold outside and a little bit windy, but it was nowhere near as hard as Saturday. So you had pretty much half the field had to play almost their full 2 first rounds, or at least the chunk of them, in horrific conditions to try to score, and it led for a very bizarre tournament.
I'm wondering, are you guys going to apologize at any point for downplaying how difficult the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass is when I made the comparison that TPC for an amateur, a 10 handicap, would have a much more difficult time of making a better score than on the 12th hole at Augusta?
Well, I mean, put those weather conditions on any hole and you're going to be in a bad spot.
But we always talk about the weather when it comes to Augusta. You never know where the wind's going. That's like one of the huge things it's one of the huge points for the Augusta being difficult is you're not really sure about the wind and the weather's always coming in. It's swirling. I'm just saying.
It's never quite like that,
I'm just saying, man, this was absolute carnage. And even when the wind died down, guys were still dunking in balls in the water like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I watched Sergio Garcia hit a ball right in the middle of the green and zipped it right off the front. He literally said, "That's the story of my life." He just kept saying it because he couldn't believe what he had just seen on like a nice, calm Monday afternoon. He couldn't believe he didn't hit that green. I'm just saying, man, that fucking golf hole is impossible.
I don't change my answer at all, and I do not apologize.
Wow.
I will concede to you that the 17th hole on Saturday played harder than the 12th hole at Augusta on a normal day. I'll agree with that.
That's fine.
Is that your point?
It's just less room. There's just so much less room to hit that golf ball. It's a fucking trampoline, and then when it's not a trampoline, it's zipping off of it. It's so much more difficult than I think you guys, for an average hack golfer, to just try and get that ball on that green. I just think they have so much more of a chance, and I'm going to stick it to Keith Mitchell. I can't believe he still believes that a hack could get on that green easier than on 12. I can't believe it.
I'm not downplaying how difficult 17 is. I don't think you get how hard 12 at Augusta is the issue. Like, you're acting like just because it's not an island, it's just like easy. I mean, there's trouble everywhere. There's water all over the place. In the final round of the Masters of 2019, like 4 of the guys in the last 6 that were leading the tournament hit it in the water. Those are the best players playing the best golf in the world. Like, that hole's so fucking hard. It's so hard.
It is very difficult. I'm saying that if you had a gun to my head for someone like one of us to make a lower score, I'm picking 12 at Augusta. And there's just there's the opportunity of someone making an infinity only happens at TPC 17. Infinity.
That's fair.
Just a case of the shanks.
Tiger Woods made a 10 on 12 recently.
Dude, didn't someone make like a 15 this week on fucking TPC? I mean, the numbers could go absolutely astronomical. Astronomical if you get a case of the shanks on that fucking golf hole. And I know if you get the case of the shanks on the 12, it's still going to be hard. I'm just saying you can maybe hosel one into a bunker. Whatever. We've already done that 3 episodes in a row. I just needed to get that out there. I got a lot of tweets asking for an apology on my behalf. And you're not going to give
How
me
many?
one, that's fine.
How many tweets?
I got double-digit tweets about it. Dude, okay. Saturday when there was 29 balls in the water, I got a lot of tweets about it. I may have gotten 20 tweets about how hard that golf hole was because it was just a thing to talk about. Oh, Frankie Brower's looking pretty right now. I was loving it. Hey, Keith Mitchell, noticed you put one in the water, you piece of shit. It's like they were going crazy.
No, I respect that. You get to you can do a little bit of a lap there. That's fine.
Guys, that's a lap for me. None
of us are gonna
fight. I've been fighting on this podcast for how hard the 17th hole is, and it's historically the worst hole that's ever happened on the PGA Tour to like anyone on any tournament in any year. So I get a little bit of a victory lap.
Fair.
Dude, I will say, what do you think realistically? What would our combined score as a group have been if we had to play that hole? Each one of us
on
playing our ball
Saturday?
on Saturday into a 35-mile-an-hour gusting wind.
Dude, Justin Thomas hit a 6-iron. It was 130.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 135-yard shot.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit it
I
in
mean,
the
I
water.
think I'm still out there. I think
he hit it in the middle of the green.
He
hit that one in the middle of the green.
And then sorry.
like what Kiz said. Kiz, they asked him what would a 10 handicap shoot out there today, and he was like they wouldn't finish. And that's, I mean, I'm way worse than that, and I don't think I would finish that hole in particular.
You're just praying you get that one good shot. Because, like, to Frankie's point, there is an infinity out there, which...
Oh, yeah.
On the 12th, there's really not an infinity. There's just a really good chance where you're making it 8, 9, 10 to 12, where at the TPC 17th, you could legitimately make 100. And I think that's Frankie's point. It's like, if the belief rips out of your mind and body that you don't think that you can get it on that green, you're just going to dump 36 golf balls into the water. I mean, just an outrageous amount. So that is where, at a certain point, you have to putt around and putt it up the little walking stand in the 17th.
But you do get to go. I mean, after you hit one in the water, you get to go hit one from like 60 yards.
Which I think might be, for most people, might be harder, dude.
I think I'd rather try to hit like a flighted 7 than hit a little nippy wedge on there.
Imagine
but
your
it's a giant green. Like, the green is gigantic.
No, I'm with you. I'm still not like giving anything to Frankie. I think certainly the 17th is easier than the 12th. But, yeah, well, going back to our point of our average score, I'm going to say that I would say my market line is a 4.5. 5. I think 5 is a fair number.
I think it takes me 5 or 6 shots to get it even close to the green. I think after the first one, it balloons up in the air. The wind takes it to the right. I'm in the water. Now, all of a sudden, I'm in the drop zone, 60 yards. I'm thinking to myself, I gotta nip this thing perfectly for it to not bounce off the back or zip back off the front. I gotta just land this thing in the middle of the green. No chance, dude.
What do you think? What if Vegas was going to make a line? That's what I was.
7.5.
7.5 is your line. I would say mine.
On Saturday, maybe 8.5, 9.5. Bro, the best golfers in the world had no idea where the ball was going to go when they hit it up in the air.
Right.
Yeah.
No idea.
It was playing impossible. It was playing impossible. Yeah, JT, they had a cool graphic where they showed the apex of the shots and then the percentages of hit the green that hit that apex, and like everyone that hit it 100 feet or higher just was in the water, and then 90 it was like, 70 or whatever percentage of them like were in the water, and then once you got down to 70 feet or whatever it was like only 30% or 20% of the people were in the water. So it was like you literally had to flight the shit out of a golf ball. If you couldn't do it, you just couldn't hit it on that green. It wasn't possible. JT had an incredible day Saturday. One of the coolest rounds of golf I've ever watched, and Pro Tracer makes it possible, but he was just hitting flighted shots, high shots, draws, cuts. He hit into 17, this low, like 6-iron half swing thing that we all saw. And then on the very next hole, 18, which they moved the 18th hole up 25 yards. They moved it up, and JT hit driver 5-wood. He had 207, I think, flag, and he hit a 5-wood that pitched 193. That thing flew 193, and then he had 2 pitching wedges that day. He said that went 205. So those were pitching wedges downwind, went 205. He had a 5-wood into the wind that went 193. He had on the 4th hole, I think it was, that little like hard squeeze cut shot that he hit, and they had a great clip of him and Bones standing over it. And, them talking about hitting driver, and Bones is like, nah, I don't like driver. And JT just pulls driver and takes the head cover off and, like, hands it to him, and Bones doesn't say a fucking word. And then JT just rips this low squeezer cut that went right up to the edge of the water in the fairway. So cool watching that guy shape the ball. I don't think anyone can do that the way that he could do it. And he did it last year when he won at Sawgrass too. Remember on 16 when he hit that low bullet rope draw that went like 230 in the air and went like 300 total? He could just shape the shit out of golf shots. It was so fucking cool to watch him play.
Yeah, I mean, you even saw Harry Higgs tweeted him afterwards being like, no bogeys is like, obviously when we say it, because we don't know shit, but it's like you're watching it and you're like, oh, that guy can shape shots. That's super impressive. But then when a guy like Harry Higgs, who on this very podcast clearly has talked about how deep of a knowledge he has and all the work he's done in the game, for him to go on and be like, JT, that is one of the more impressive things that anyone will ever see, is super cool. And yeah, I agree with you, Riggs. I don't think anybody else has that skill set. And it's cool in a way, probably not for JT, certainly not while it was happening. Like, it's cool for him to get to display those types of things, because normally you don't see it. You know JT's a great golfer. Everybody knows that. But then you get to see him actually display the array of shots that he has. And then you really realize, like, oh, he's like really fucking good. And that was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, for him to be purposely hitting shots like that in that tough of conditions, exactly, Trent. Because typically, I mean, if there's not much wind and the greens are kind of soft, I mean, the guy just swings pretty hard and it goes pretty straight. And then he swings pretty hard and it goes pretty straight. And it drops a wedge near the hole. And you're like, oh, these guys are good. Great. Dude, watching him. And like the contrast, right? Like it was the cream rising to the top that day. And it almost feels like JT won the tournament. He like wasn't even fucking close. But because of that round that we all got to witness, and Saturday people waited so long to watch golf that we all tuned in, and there was JT just dismantling this golf course and doing it with such a wide array of shots. And while other people were struggling, like they would cut to, Justin Rose hitting another one in the water and then slamming his 3-wood in the pine straw. And then, here's back to JT, who just flights a 5-wood in the middle of the green. You're like, what is this guy playing a different game than these fucking guys? Like, what is he doing out there? So him and Bubba were the only guys to go no bogeys on Saturday in that round. Fuck me, was that impressive. That was so much fun to watch.
Also, quick note, shout out to Matt Wolf for one of the most kind of like the easiest, most lethargic just removal of a club from your bag of all time, of just hit one, kind of flare it out to the right and just sick of it and just drop a club over your shoulder into the water. Just really good. I loved every ounce of that.
So much better than helicoptering. Like,
yes.
A helicopter would have been childish and outrageous.
The heavy baseball toss, the crow hop, no need for that. Just let me drop it over my left shoulder. Yeah, exactly. Gone.
I don't want it. Boom.
Nope.
It's gone.
See you later.
See ya. It was very cool. Very funny.
Almost as if like he was supposed to do that. Like, that's the follow through. You hit the ball, you toss the club into the water, and then you go onto the green. Like, that's how golf is played. That's exactly the way it was looked.
He dropped it in with like so touch. He had like good touch when he dropped it in.
It made like a bloop noise too. It was nice.
There was some frustration out there. I mean, you're just going to get that. That's how brutal the conditions were. Brandel got into it, Paul McGinley, big time on the live from set. I was just glued to live from the whole weekend. I love this tournament. I love I always kind of get surprised by TBC Sawgrass, I guess, because like the TBC label is always kind of like, it's TBC course. And you almost feel like gimmicky in the island green. And then it comes around and it's just fucking awesome. Like watching it start to finish, is so much fun. Anybody can win. Brandel does a good job of breaking that down, but like it does feel like you get all kinds of different winners at this thing. It's not just a certain type of golfer. Kisner contends here all the time. Then you have bombers that contend here as well. So anybody can kind of win the tournament. And that was very clear coming down the stretch. But he pretty much right away on Saturday when they resumed play and everybody hit it in the water, he started tweeting out that he forever had hated and despised the 17th hole, and then he came around in recent years, but that these conditions and what he was watching reaffirmed his original instincts and beliefs that the 17th hole sucks, that it's one of the worst holes in golf, that it's so unequitable, that it's stupid, that it was ruining the integrity of the tournament. And then Paul McGinley on coverage, who became sort of everybody's hero, that's against Brandel, was just feeding him back, chirping him about how he hates it and complains. I understand what Brandel was trying to say, which is that, it is a little bit goofy that just because somebody gets a gust of wind and the next guy doesn't, their ball ends up in the water and they're looking at a double or a quad. Meanwhile, the other guy, just can easily two-putt to a par, and that seems like such a crazy stroke difference for one shot getting a gust and one shot not. I do not think he was giving enough credit to the guys that just hit really good shots in there. I think there were very, very few people on Saturday who hit what they considered pure, really good shots into 17 who ended up in the water. Yeah, there were definitely a couple. But again, that graphic, everybody that flighted it low and hit it pure and the smart shot punched kind of a longer iron into the middle of the green, I think got rewarded, and other guys that tried to get too aggressive or fancy or just can't flight it or threw it up in the air or whatever got dominated by the wind. And I think one hole out of 17 holes, which is really 4 holes out of a 72-hole tournament, I don't think you're ruining the entire integrity of the golf tournament. And even so, it almost reminds me of like Bryson DeChambeau when we had that whole thing of him kind of being like every hole should basically be played in a vacuum and they should be like a constant golf course that determines the best player. Every golf tournament's inequitable. Every single one. You can have guys on one Saturday, 2 guys playing in the same group. They both miss 4 fairways and hit the rough 4 times. One guy might get 4 horrible lies. The other guy might get 4 totally normal great lies. That's just inequitable. They are not playing the exact same course that day, or they're not getting the exact same luck or whatever, but you just kind of like play through it. It's an outdoor sport. It's in the elements. It's grass and sand and water, and you deal with it. So if it were true that like 99% of the time, the rest of the time, golf is perfectly equal, everybody plays the exact same golf shots, then I would understand his point, but it's just not. Like golf inherently, people have different experiences. They hit different shots every single shot on the golf course. So you're not going to have it's not a vacuum. You're playing golf on a golf course, on grass, on sand, on water, like I said. So I just thought it overall came off a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and shout out Paul Casey too, but you go. I mean, he basically has to play out of a divot there to close out this.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Golf is not fair. You get good breaks, you get bad breaks, but it is what it is.
I wondered what the fans thought on that hole when you're just up there by the green and you were seeing Paul Casey in the middle of the fairway, and he just takes a wedge and just kind of knocks one like 35 yards. They're probably like, what's that lunatic doing? Like, did he just have I would think like that guy just had like a mental breakdown and is like arguing with this caddy and just kind of smacked the ball and was like, I'm done with this tournament. Like that
got $1,000 on him to win. I mean,
that's kind of what I thought. Like, imagine being up there being like, what the fuck was that? Because you can't see that.
Yeah,
no,
can't see or hear that. True.
No, but what makes 17 great, and I get what Brandel's saying. I'm sure he's so well researched that there's validity to it, and he's very knowledgeable and he knows a lot about everything in the game of golf. But when Cam Smith steps to the 17th tee with a 2-shot lead on Monday, the final round, that's when it's a great hole. And I know that it's probably Mickey Mouse to a degree, and it messes with the integrity, and some guys get wins, some don't. But when a guy steps up there with the tournament on the line, and he's got a 2-shot lead, and he's got to land it on that green, or he's toast, or it's a much different tournament after that. That's what makes that hole great. And like, I don't know how you account for that in terms of what you think you should see or what people should put on a golf course. But for me, and I think probably for a casual viewer as well, like that moment makes 17 worth it.
Yeah, the whole entire week during the broadcast, they talk about how the last 3 holes are the toughest, most cinematic, dramatic finishes in all of golf that you're ever going to be able to get because of everything that could possibly happen in those last 3 holes could just blow up that leaderboard. Like, it never happened. And that is why we watch, for the entertainment purposes and for the drama going towards the end. So I think 17 absolutely brings that drama. I think that, yeah, it is Mickey Mouse. We love Mickey Mouse here on this podcast. We're a Disney podcast. And, like, I'm a theatrics guy, man. Like, I don't want some perfectly executed, architecturally built hole on the 17th and the 18th hole. I want fucking drama. I want balls rolling into water. I want chaos. I want guys having to hang on by the tips of their fingertips, just barely hanging on to that win, and as all the punches build and everyone's grabbing at their feet. Can you survive on that cliff? And Cam Smith did. I mean, he played his fucking balls to the ground on 17 and 18 and just fucking won the thing. And that's what I love about it.
That tee shot on 17,
nuts.
As soon as he hit it, I thought it was going in the water. Go back and
a mile.
Yes, if you go back, and I did it, if you pause the tracer, it looks like it's going splashdown for sure, and then it just goes right over it, and it's the shot of the tournament. But in the moment, I was like, oh man, we're gonna go into a playoff. Something's gonna happen here.
But that makes that hole so much better.
Right.
Like,
so I agree.
A guy can come in on 17 on the last on his 71st hole and just fucking say, fuck you, golf course, fuck you, field. I'm going to put this thing within 3 feet when everyone else hits 70 balls into the water. That's amazing.
He did admit in his post-round interview that he pushed it a little bit, which I thought was very nice of him to admit.
That's decade golf. That's decade golf. You have room to be able to push it.
Good decade golf. There's no doubt about that. I also, part of the reason too, and this happened a bunch of times that I thought he hit in the water, was they had the video board right behind the players. And so after he hit his follow through, it looks like usually if they just hold the follow through and there's no movement, they like it. Whenever there's like something like this, it looks like they kind of hate it. And there's a video board was right in line with the camera with him. So it looked like there was some movement from him. So I was like, he hit it. The tracer went to the right, and it looks like he was giving it some fucking negative body English, and then it just dropped a foot from the hole. And I was rooting for that puppy go in the water because I think Kiz is taking a charge. This could get really interesting. But what a golf shot. Cam Smith, his putter under pressure is just insane. But to everybody's point, yes, I agree. It probably is Mickey Mouse. Do we want it changed at all? Absolutely not. When he stood on that tee, my heart was pumping. I was nervous as fuck. You're like, holy shit. It just delivers the entertainment. It delivers the drama. It reminds me of shootouts in the NHL where, are they kind of stupid from an integrity standpoint? Yep, but I love them. They bring the entertainment. They draw more eyeballs to the game. Well, that's because your team's terrible at them.
Also, the 17th is just a thing, though. Like, that hole is just a thing that you have to deal with, and, like, it's how you potentially put your staple on that golf tournament of just like, nope, I want it. And Cam obviously hits it to 3 feet, and he needed that putt, needed that birdie to win because he puts it in the water on 18.
How much does the broadcast love when a golfer is on 16 and glances over at 17? If you're a golfer and you're walking down 16 or you're on the 16th green and you even fucking pretend or act like you're going to look over at 17, they will catch you and they will run it back on the broadcast. I forgot somebody did.
That's how you get your pip
somebody
up.
did it today, and they were like, "Well, look at this guy. He's looking over at 17." It's like it's the next hole, and it's also, I get that it's the scary par 3, but if you even glance over at the 17th, you're getting put on TV.
They get so dramatic, Homa, they're like, David sees Goliath awaiting on the next hole. It's like, okay, dude. All right.
That's Riggs, you bring up a good point too, actually. If you are looking to up your pip and you're at the Players, literally when you're on 16, just walk to the edge and just stare at 17 and try to get like a tear to fall or something, because they will absolutely come in their pants for that video.
Max Homa next year, he should come 5 minutes earlier for his tee time and just walk over before he goes to the range and just look at 17. The cameras would lose their fucking minds. He'd be all over.
Oh my God, they go nuts.
Max Homa was thinking about 17 all day so much that he got there early and stared at the green. Here's footage of it. He gets his TV pip time up. It's a no-brainer. They just live for that shit. Maybe get Goldman to go look at the green in the morning, get him walking down 16, peering over at 17. The cameras fucking love it. But what a great hole. I love that hole. I love that it delivers. It's probably a shitty hole from a, statistical golfy breakdown, but boy, do I fucking love it. I hope.
Also, the integrity of the tournament, it is the tournament. Like what? Like that hole is that is part of what the Players is. So like, what integrity? It's not like ruining the integrity of anything. It is what it is. Like it's not the Players without that hole. So what is he trying to what is he trying to hold together, Brandel? Like what does Brandel think it's bringing down?
That's where
like
you
the
throw
Players is right.
It's just that you don't look at analytics for the 17th. It's theater, and like you just have to appreciate that, and it is what it is.
Right. What is life without a little pizzazz? If there's no pizzazz on that golf course, if there's no 17, that's just a normal par 3. Nobody talks about it. And I get that that's probably a point of contention. People talk about it because it might be a little Mickey Mouse or whatever. But like,
that's like him saying to me, like, "Oh, like
this is entertainment.
Frankie's not growing a beard; it's really holding him back. Like the integrity of his face. Like I can't grow. Like this is my face. Like the golf course has 17, and it's an island green. That's what the golf tournament always has had. It's like what integrity is it ruining? That's what I don't get. Like,
well, what he's saying is that like the integrity of trying to determine the best player he thinks is diminished because it's a little bit more luck than like skill. Is his point.
I would also say,
if you do everything by the book, like, all right, if you want everybody just to be journalists, then you'll never have companies that are interesting. Like if you just want everything to be, it has to be this way, or it's going to take away, it has to be within the lines, and that makes it for a very boring world, in my opinion.
I also just think nerves coming down the stretch. It's like you have to hit a ball on the green. There's water all the way around, so like you cannot flare it. I think it's an amazing golf hole that tests your basically like your poise in that moment to execute a shot. So I disagree, and I love it.
I love it too. I love it too. It's just awesome. It's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's probably pretty easy for the amateur golfer compared to 12 at Augusta, but we'll
crazy.
Listen, fellas, your laundry deserves better. Meet Laundry Sauce, the world's first designer laundry detergent made specifically for the lads. That's what it says, the lads. At laundrysauce.com, you'll discover a better way to muck your laundry. Laundry Sauce's premium, simple-to-use laundry pods are made with bold fragrances that will have you smelling like a beauty and feeling like a man rocket. These a little hockey lingo we're getting here. I like that. It's going to be a Chicklets read. Soulful scents like Australian sandalwood give your laundry an exotic blend of deep amber and smooth suede. Siberian pine leaves your laundry with the fresh juniper and oak moss aromas of the Soviet frost, and you won't even have to sign a contract. This is definitely, by the way, a little spit and chicklets action right here, which I like. We're hockey. We've had many of hockey discussions in this very show. We brought up the shootout in this very show, so it makes sense. Bottom line is, look, our laundry, we could just use improvements. I bet not one of us is quite impressive with our laundry. Frankie has at least a fiance, so I would bet that he gets a little bit of assistance. But think
even for that, my mommy every day. I mean, my mommy is I came home yesterday. I happened to leave my luggage downstairs, and she knew what that meant. I left my luggage downstairs. I came back, and everything was folded in colors and socks and underwears. I'm gonna miss that, man. That's something I'm gonna miss for sure.
Yeah, when I do my laundry, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos. So
totally, it's just not impressive. Every order of Laundry Sauce comes with 69 premium pods per box. Very nice. Join the new generation of modern men who know their way around the laundry room. Scale up your laundry game by going to laundrysauce.com. Use the promo code FORE for 10% off your next purchase. That's laundrysauce.com. Promo code FORE for 10% off. I've been using this stuff. It is excellent. Again, it makes you kind of seem like a real person who's got your shit together, who can do laundry, have it smell good, have it come out better than it went in, way better, maybe better than it's ever been. So laundrysauce.com. Use the promo code FORE. Get 10% off your next purchase. We had quite the kerfuffle between Daniel Berger, Joel Dahmen, and Victor Hovland on I believe it was the 16th hole at TBC Sawgrass. This is not the first time Joel Damen's been in one of these. He had, he's famously had pretty much the same stance, in which he had a strong disagreement with another player about where their ball crossed, where they should actually take that drop. That's exactly what happened in this instance, where Daniel Berger hit one out to the right on 16, and it really, depends. If your ball goes out pretty quickly over that water and doesn't return over the water, you got to drop way back. If your ball kind of goes all the way up by the green and then like slices out to the right or cuts out to the right, then you can obviously drop way up closer to the green. That's what Berger thought happened. It looked like Victor Hovland and Joel Dahmen were not in agreement, to the point where it got a heated, I would say for golf, a heated discussion where Berger said, for the sake of you guys, if that's what makes you guys feel better, I will drop back here, but you guys are wrong, is what he said to him. It's just a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in because it's he said versus he said.
Yeah, shout out to Victor and Joel for standing their ground because
Joel kind of walked away. I'll say
did.
shout out to Victor. Joel was like, you know what? I've seen this. I'm going to move on. And it looked like Victor was holding his ground.
Fair, but that's a situation that I try to avoid at all costs. I give Berger, I'll put Berger's ball in the hole if he wants me to in that situation. I don't care. Like that, they really did. And they kind of heated for golf is the right way to put it. Normally people are very agreeable, but in a situation like that, you can go one of two ways. You can just be like, yeah, whatever you want to do is fine. Or you can be like Victor and he's like, I don't agree with that. And I'm trying to, I think he said afterwards, he's like, we're trying to protect the field, trying to protect the integrity, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think those guys will be getting dinner together anytime soon, but I think it was probably the right call.
Berger was also dropping I've never had a bad drop in my life. Like a few times he said that. And I was like, he was saying that for and against him almost in a sense. Like, well, I don't want to do anything bad because I've never had a bad drop in my life. And then when he didn't agree with Victor, he was like, this is a bad drop and I've never had a bad drop in my life. It was like, this is insane. But I appreciated Victor kind of standing his ground because it was crazy. And when you rewatch it, you're like, it feels a little right. Obviously, you weren't there and you're trusting a ball tracer, so who the hell really knows? But I honestly loved the interaction.
Right. Does the shot favor Berger or Hovland in this? Like when you actually go back and watch it, like does history? Where does it lie?
The Pro Tracer, Tracer doesn't really give you much more insight. It's just kind of you can't tell. The Pro Tracer doesn't really help you that much.
But Joel and Victor were both like, no, dude, you're way back here. It wasn't like a matter of 20 feet doesn't really matter. It was like, no, you're like back there right before the rough, like somewhere over there. And the 2 versus 1, I mean, I got to think that like neither of those, seem like bad guys or trying to do something wrong or like maybe there's
no
2 versus 1's tough. When it's 2, it's tough. It's like, oh, they both my people that didn't hit the shot and who aren't like affected like I am think that it went back way back there. That's when it's not. If the third guy was like, dude, it's close either way, then you could get away with it. But when they're both like, no, dude, it was back here, that's a tough look.
And it's also Victor Hovland and Joel Dahmen. No one's ever had a bad word to say about either of those guys.
No, never.
I will say the rules official comes over and doesn't do anything. He's just like, you can actually drop it wherever you'd like. So if you firmly believe it was up there or over there, like that's where you could put it. And it was like, you might as well not show up. So let's just get rid of you. But yeah, no, I don't really think there's any takeaways that like the public eye could make on where he should have dropped and where he actually did. But
which is kind of a win for Berger.
Yeah, but Berger succumbed.
No, I know. I'm saying like we always have that little doubt that like he might have been right. You know
right.
I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like even if it's 5%,
like there's like the pessimistic side of me is like those 2 bitch boys got what they wanted, and Berger like could maybe be right, and he was like arguing. He's like, you know what, you guys just go off your way. I'll just hit this ball from where you want me to hit it, and I'll just hit it. I'm kind of like leaning towards Berger. I love Joel Dahmen. Victor Hovland seems like a nice guy, but like there's a part of Berger that's super confident where he's like, all right, like you guys just go do your thing. I'll just listen to you now. Like we'll go back to the tape and you guys will feel like assholes.
It does. At the end of the day, if you're looking at it, you're just like Berger wants what's best for him, and Joel Dahmen and Victor Hovland want. I mean, not that they want anything, but like it's better if he's in a worse position. Not that they were thinking that way, but like Berger wants it his way, they want it his way, and they both each outcome favors each party. Then you don't know what's going on.
No, you don't. That's
Golf's
true.
just so weird. Like you got two guys. Weird. You got 2 guys who are fighting to win the tournament, saying that they're protecting the integrity of the field. It's just a sport like no other, man. I mean, imagine we settled all like bang calls in all of sports based off like 2 players just kind of talking it out. Like, dude, I think that foul ball was like on the line. Like, exactly. It's like, well, actually, like, if you really want it to be on the line, it's just, what are you talking about? It's either on the line or it's not. Fucking golf sucks like that, man.
Dude, Lurch, isn't like in tennis, is like college tennis determined by just who calls it in or out, or are there like line judges there?
Yeah, I don't know what level that drops down to, but certainly
there's some level, like pretty high level of tennis, I think, where it's just like, nah, that was out. I bet people want to go to war with
King Richard,
and then you're known
Venus
as
Williams.
Like,
King Richard, Venus Williams, like they were they were like people like they assumed that people were being like prejudiced towards it, but every time like it'd be close, like the white girl on the other side would be like, "That's out," or like, "That's
in the
in."
movie actually there was a little piece of that, right?
Yeah, she's like, "It's not fucking out," but she couldn't argue because like she wasn't quote unquote supposed to be there in the beginning, so she like had to like internalize it all and then just fucking beat him fair and square. But yeah, that's like that does remind me of that.
And sometimes like in those games, it's honestly like kind of a sandbagger handicap guy, who's like says they're this, but they're actually that. Because you'll kind of get known as be like, oh yeah, that guy will hook you on a couple calls. Because in tennis, it's so you're hitting like hundreds of balls over there, and every point matters. Like every game's only 4 points or whatever. So, you get hooked on a call, and that really sways it. And then some people get known for it. It's a whole thing. But I don't know how high of a level that actually goes to before you actually get line judges. But I assume pretty high because, like, maybe only professional circuit actually has actual line judges. You'll have maybe
that's like hard to staff. It's hard to staff that many
ton of
line
people,
judges.
100%. So you'll have the chair umpire, but like I don't think he or she would ever be able to overrule, your call on the baseline that you saw from back there. So that's actually interesting. I don't know. I'd like
probably been some really big tennis matches decided by somebody just being like, "That was out, bro. That was out." Good match. Good match.
It's both country club sports where you got these fucking assholes that are like, they think they're the fucking bee's knees. What are the odds that both country club sports are self-governed, where all these fucking rich assholes are like, sorry, actually, that's out. Okay.
Well, Lurch, and what you're talking about
every other sport with normal people is just like there's an umpire that gets paid like $50. He's just like, "Hey man, that's a foul ball," and everyone's like, "Okay." But the fucking two dumb sports where they wear white shorts and white collared shirts, they're like, actually, I'm gonna fight you to the death about this
so
fucking
true,
dumb
dude.
argument.
And the label,
we love this sport, but it's so fucking stupid.
The label is what you're ultimately trying to avoid, right? Like that's what Berger's in that situation where I guarantee he's like, you got to handle this in a way where I'm not going to be the guy who everyone is kind of like, yeah, he takes the wrong drops. Like that's.
Dude, imagine if you dropped up there. People would be analyzing that shot forever. Now it's kind of a forgotten moment. It's like, okay, you did, the gentleman thing where you played from as far back as the worst outcome that was given to you. If he drops forward, I mean,
you can escape a lot of things in sports, but that label is something you cannot get rid of.
Ugly.
Yeah, you just don't. He didn't need to. He didn't need to do that at that point. I think he really did all the math in his head, and he's like, "What's my best scenario here? It's 2-on-1. I'm taking punches on the chin. Let's just settle this now and let me just go on with my thing."
It's the right move.
Agreed.
It's the right move.
Only
it's
move.
like now it's water under the bridge. Where, like Lurch is saying, man, if that puppy had been way further up, we would be breaking that thing down. We have satellite images in there.
You got some guy from MIT on that thing while here. He put this much spin on it. We got the track man behind it. It's like he crossed back there. Berger's a cheater. His brand's ruined. He's never playing.
You can't have that.
Woo.
Shout out to friend of the program, Doug Gim. He just plays TBC Sawgrass really well. $675,000, I believe he got for a tied for sixth finish for a guy in his position, sort of a little bit bubble, trying to like really make it and break through and get all that status and kind of raise himself to the next level on the PGA Tour. Awesome week for Doug Gim. Missed a short putt on 18, which was tough to see because that probably cost him $100,000 or so. But great week from Doug Gim. And then Cam Smith, just in general. I mean, Cam Smith is a fucking machine, man. This was his fifth PGA Tour win. Fifth. I thought that was a really high number.
Trevor Immelman, the captain, he's got to be fucking licking his chops right now that he's got an absolute stone cold killer on his roster for the international team at the President's Cup. He's an Aussie. He's probably one of the more outrageous looking professional athletes you can possibly think of. His hair, specifically in this type of wind and rain, looked 10 times more ridiculous than it's ever looked. His mustache obviously is insane. So I mean, to look at him is tough, but he is an insane athlete. Hits the ball so well. His ball striking is out of this fucking world, and he just reins in putts all week. He's just fucking solid, man. He's just a solid golfer.
He's nails. There were a lot of opportunities today to lose that golf tournament, and it looked like he was maybe going to, and he didn't. Like those 3 bogeys in a row was kind of like, all right, where's this train going? I know he started 4 straight birdies, which was crazy town, and then he duck hooked that one drive, and that felt like, was that on 16? I think
16,
it was on.
He duck hooked it.
That was on 16. Par. Yeah,
he
somehow
up and down right from the bunker.
He
No.
No.
16, he two-putted.
Yeah, he labeled like a hybrid from like 243 to the left side of the green, and then had a great two-putt down the hill.
Just every time you thought phenomenal. every time he had to make a putt, he made one, and that's what these tournaments ultimately come down to. There's always those moments where you got to save par here, or you're gonna let it slip, and he just every single one he poured in. He's a stud.
He's a stud. Also, Riggs knocks me because I don't know how the golf ball like fundamentally enters the hole from different spots. No clue. But like Cam Smith, he was pouring them in from every different side, perfect weight. It was just insane the way he was rolling it in there. And it was just like, even if he missed, he might have had like an inch putt to knock it in. It was crazy just every time. It was like, yep, step it up, roll it in, done. And the pressure putt, even on 17, that obviously ended up mattering perfectly right in the middle. It was just crazy.
I think he ended up with the most one putts in the history of the Players' Championship. And you're right, they did I think it was Azinger who had a rare great line where he said these putts would be going in on a thimble, is what he said, which is spot on. They were just falling in the front edge, right in the heart. They had no chance of missing. That makes the hole as big as it can possibly be from a physics standpoint. And that thing was just rolling right in the heart. That, like on 14, that really hard par 4, where Tiger made a double in 2013 where he still held on to win. Cam Smith hit like a mediocre chip and had like a 12-foot slider, and he just poured it right in the heart for par. And you're like, this fucking guy is relentless. And then even the putt on 17 and the putt on 18, those are short putts, but like under that kind of pressure when everything's kind of unraveling, you've snap hooked one on 16 too. He made a short putt. You've snap hooked one on 16, like you're falling apart, yet your putter is just that ice cold. And then he stands over the putt for a long time. I feel like usually the guys that are really good putters, they sort of look back and just pull the trigger and pour it right in the heart. He kind of like freezes over the ball and thinks about it for a second, longer than you expect, and then just perfect speed, perfect weight. He was just impressive. His putter is fucking
He's got
dangerous.
the great story that his mom and his sister, he hadn't seen him in 2.5 years because the COVID protocols in Australia are so crazy. So he said afterwards he got choked up, it was a lot. I felt like I was about to cry. He was like, hanging out with them these last couple weeks has been what I wanted to do, and the golf was secondary. Like I didn't even really care. So it's like, holy shit, man! And he just won $3.6 million. That's a pretty nice little gift for your mom and your sister you haven't seen for a couple of years.
Here's a little trivia: Cam Smith is the 5th Australian to ever win the Players. Do you know the other 4?
I'm gonna go Elkington.
Correct.
Adam Scott.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Jason Day.
Correct.
Ernie Els?
Incorrect.
He's South African.
Not even close.
And I don't
Different
think
part
he's
of the
won
world.
a Players' Championship.
So we've got 4, right? There's 5. Cam Smith is the 5th.
Nope, you're missing one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
be
no.
Such an obvious one too.
No, you're right. You're right. That's
Really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Nice
You're
work,
right.
boys. Golf
That was amazing.
podcast.
No.
I was getting Craig Perks mixed up. He's New Zealand. Same flag.
Close.
Same flag.
Close.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Did anyone say Greg Norman?
No, you guys didn't say Greg Norman. I knew there was one.
You're running the show here, pal.
I know.
You got us
guys,
confused.
You got me confused when you said that we had all 5. And then I was like,
That was
that
good
might be
work by
Craig
Trent.
Perks,
That was
but
good
it's
work
not.
by Trent. Yeah, we got it, right? Yeah.
I have it
Let's
right
move on.
here. 1994, Greg Norman. He
Golf
defeated Fuzzy
podcast,
Zoeller.
baby.
Yeah, you guys. That was pretty solid though.
Yeah.
They were announcing that close to the end of the broadcast. They were hyping that up big time because they did the Adam Scott pull into the water left because Cam Smith went into the water. And
they love that shot. They love the Adam Scott yanking of the water left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a hard tournament to close out. What an extremely difficult golf
Yeah,
tournament.
Cam Smith put one in the water and it didn't end up mattering, but it felt like it was about to matter big time.
How good is that wedge shot from 50 yards?
Dude, then he almost pulled it from 57 yards. How many times would we hit it that close from 57 yards? Never.
Never.
Twice and 2% of the time, maybe.
Guy almost makes par. He pretty much lipped out for par with that wedge shot. Almost crazy.
Yeah, and then it left it like a foot below the hole, just the easiest. I was, what the fuck? So yeah, that guy's impressive. He just was so impressive closing that thing out.
Keegan Bradley, a little bit of a collapse there. Oof.
Sad, but I think he was going for it, which I respected. But he lost a lot of money there with it. I was going to give him a shout out because I love Kiki, lurchy guy. You know, he's just kind of weird the way he dresses the ball, everything that he does. But that was
he's very
he's a little lurchy. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of big, goofy kind of looking guy who does weird kind of shit out there. Like the way he hunches over the ball is
times and then hits it. It's like one of the most insane pre-shot
until he pulls the
time.
club back. You would think he's a weekend 17 handicap. He's the way he's like all that, and then he's so hunched down. You're like, what is this guy doing? And then he just stripes it.
His club isn't like flat to the ground. It's more like it almost feels like it's sitting on an angle. Yeah, the whole thing looks wrong, but then he just pounds it down the middle. He hits it a mile.
I thought he was going to win for a while. He really had it going down there for a while. But I do agree with you. With that much money on the line, I was worried we were going to get some people down the stretch not going for it. That were like, okay, I'm too many shots back. I'm 3 shots back. If I can just make sure I don't make a double here, I'm going to get paid. And it felt like everybody kind of went for it. I even thought that with like Kiz a little bit on 16 because he was like 260 out. And I was like, is he going to hit like an iron to like 60 yards and then pitch it in because he was like 4 shots back? And no, he like roped a 3-wood into the left center of the green and went birdie finish. He like lipped out or just burned the edge on 18. So I was glad he went for it. I was glad everybody was kind of going for it down the stretch. Who was it? Poulter that year who kind of clearly tried not to win the tournament and just to finish second so he could get a paycheck. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. That's the kind of guy Poulter is, you know?
I don't remember that. I blocked that out.
I vividly remember that. He would deny it, I'm sure, but it definitely happened.
Yeah,
that was like 3 years, probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Who called him out for that? Do you remember who was the one that called him? Was it like Brandel or somebody that called him out for that?
I don't remember, but I certainly remember the finish of that tournament.
It was 2017. He lost to KC
5 years ago.
Brandel Chamblee in 2017. Clearly did not play to win the Players.
Dude, he didn't. If you go back and watch, it becomes so evident. But it's it's a huge paycheck. So
it's kind of weird how they do that. It's Siwoo Kim, but then for everyone else, it's the same name. It's like Cameron Smith, and then they say Kim Siwoo. Wonder why that's happening.
I don't know.
On this list, you know what I mean? Like it says last name's first, even though everyone else's last name's first is second.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't even really know what you're talking about, to be honest with you.
On this list of winners of the Players, basically all the list is just first name, last name, first name, last name, first name, last name, and then it's backwards for Siwoo Kim.
What site are you on?
On Wikipedia. But still, I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, somebody's got to get that straight. That's very confusing.
I'm saying I'm looking at Poulter's hole by hole. There we go.
Yeah.
And on the 16th, he had 237 in and laid up to 122 yards, and then made a
what did he do on 18?
There.
18
but then 18 he made a bad bogey. It looks like he put one in the water for like a total debacle because then he ended up tying for second with Louis Oosthuizen.
Oh.
Well, here's Brandel too. Brandel goes, look where he's lining up on 17. He's lining up in the middle of the green. The person he is trying to beat is playing a par 5 behind him, and he's got 2 shots to make up, plays the middle of the green. It's a fine shot. Didn't cost him any money. Didn't cost him any world ranking points, but he clearly did not play to win, and he didn't win. Money matters. World ranking points matter. I get it. I've hit that shot. I have done that. I have done exactly what Ian Poulter did. No one is ever going to call me a good player. We reserve the right to call great players at great shots.
Brutal.
Roasting him.
Hammer.
Yeah.
And then last thing, before we throw it to Chris Lane, is did you guys see that they found the Endurance, this ship?
What?
I want to talk to you guys about this. First, I got to talk about Simply Safe. So I got the Simply Safe home security system here in my home. I got some security cameras. I got this smart lock, and I got the whole system. It's amazing. Simply Safe is backed by their 24/7 professional monitoring in the business. We set it up this weekend in like 5 minutes. Things unbelievably easy. I would argue simple to set up, ready to dispatch police, firefighters, or EMTs to your home, to my home, with a comprehensive set of sensors and cameras, including the all-new wireless outdoor security camera. You always know what's going on inside and outside.
Which is
your
amazing.
Home.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. It is, dude. I just got the app, and you just look at it on your app.
You're able to set like where the camera starts to detect when someone's walking up, so it's not getting all the cars, it's not getting someone walking on the street. But as they approach your door, you get an alert, and if you miss that alert, it gives you a 15-second or 30-second or however long they're in the however long they're in front of your camera. It gives you that long of a video, and you can hear everything. Like yesterday, I was like watching the guys sitting down like in front of my house, like while the guys are working on the floors, and they're just like just like yapping away on the camera. I felt a little weird watching him, so I ended up exiting out. But it's amazing all the stuff it picks up. It really is a high quality camera.
Did you know, Frankie, you could talk to them via the camera?
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Dude, I did it, and it actually worked. So these guys were coming to do the floors. I was late going out to the house. They were knocking on the door, and I went onto the camera. I said, "Hey guys, I'm 5 minutes away." And they looked up and they're like, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's Frankie. I'm 5 minutes away." And they're like, "Okay." And they just sat there, and it was nuts.
Wow.
My brother was doing it to me yesterday, just messing with me, or 2 days just messing with me. The fact that you can actually use it for practical reasons, they're just incredible. There's never a long-term contract. You can try it for 60 days risk-free, see if you like it. If you don't, send it back free of charge. Simply Safe protects over 1 million homes in the United States alone. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/foreplay. Go today, claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. What a deal that is. Go to simplysafe.com/foreplay. One of our partners for a long time. They're protecting homes, keeping you safe in a very simple manner. Go to simplysafe.com/foreplay. Last thing, this exploration ship, the Endurance, was found in Antarctica.
Oh, I saw this.
Over 10,000 feet below the surface of the ocean, 106 years later.
And it's
fully intact. Because they're so cold there, there's no wood-eating little fucking shitheads that fuck with it. So it's perfectly intact. The search cost $10 million that I believe came from some anonymous donor. And they sent this fucking ice carving, ship there they have underwater drones and then one of those unmanned submarine things with all cameras on it. Took them a couple weeks. They go down to Antarctica. They were within a 10-mile radius of where it was reported, back in the day, from, who was it? Sir Ernest Shackleton. Is that who it is? Where they had gone down and their ship had been crushed by ice. And they fucking found this thing 106 years later, over 10,000 feet below the surface of the ocean. They found this fucking thing.
Now, it's crazy, and maybe the craziest part of that story, I think I read the full article that Barstool Chief put up about this, but essentially, I think everyone that was stranded on that boat survived.
Dude, there was I believe it was Ernest Shackleton and 27 crew, and they were stuck for months. And then they, I believe they got over the South Sea to the island of Georgia over the course of a year, and they all survived, which is just.
Dude, they ate unfortunately, they ate some of the dogs, and they figured out a way to survive over years and months, and they had to make it over this mountain, which to this day doesn't get climbed because of how intense of a climb it is in the climate, and they made it over that mountain. It's not one guy died. Isn't that insane? You got to read up on this. It's Endurance, and it's all these guys. I don't know how they haven't made a movie about this, and if they haven't, I'm sure
feels
they
like
will.
They're gonna, because this is an epic story.
It's an epic story.
Still there is crazy.
Yeah. So what now? Dude. What do we do with the ship now that we found it?
So
you're not allowed to touch it. It's like a historical preservation or something, so they couldn't touch it. So the little unmanned submarine that went through had to stay a certain distance back, because if it goes in and the whole thing collapses, they blew it. But this fucking thing is one of the quotes was,
hold on, what about the person that paid $15 million to find it? What, you just found it and it's you put a flag and you put a buoy above it and then that's it?
I think that's it. The guy was like, fuck yeah, you guys found it. Great job. I think literally
big old slap on the back. Good job, man. That's pretty cool.
That guy knows about something on that boat.
Yeah,
he's trying to get
right.
it.
Yeah,
right.
One of the quotes was, without any exaggeration, "This is the finest wooden shipwreck I have ever seen by far." Marine archaeologist Minson Bound, who is on the Discovery expedition and has now fulfilled a dream ambition in his near 50-year career. "It is upright, well proud of the seabed, intact, and in a brilliant state of preservation."
What's this guy's 50-year career entail? You're just looking for ships for 50 years? What's his title?
I think he's an archaeologist. Okay. Is that what he said?
Marine archaeologist Minson Bound.
He's always looking for stuff in the water. He's down there. He's down there looking for all sorts of things. He just happened to find this ship. It is interesting that they it's now, it's, what is it? You can't touch it because it's this preserved thing. But up until this guy found it, people just assumed that it had disappeared. And then
I think that the story was going, as I was reading through this, that they believed that if it were found, it would most likely be in really good shape because of the fact that the water is too cold for, quote, wood-eating sea creatures. Okay. So that if they found it, they believe. But, I mean, think about a ship getting smashed by ice, like to the point where it leaks and then goes under the surface, and then it falls 10,000 feet through water. It just lands perfectly fine. I'm like, right? Does that seem crazy to anybody else?
That's very crazy.
No.
No?
Well, the fact that we got a floor down there always throws me off.
What?
Yeah, there's just a floor. I know. I think about that too.
Like an ocean floor, right? It's just like a bottom. That always like I'd rather just think that it's all water. Like we're just float. You know what I'm saying?
It goes all the way to the other side of the world.
Just goes to the other side. We're all just float.
I actually don't know if I agree with that. That makes me feel like I need there to be something there that like is stable.
Right, a rock.
Because then we're talking about an even more unstable Earth than it already is, where it's just the middle is just water.
Right, because then like it makes sense. You got mountains that go up, and you got mountains that kind of go like down into the earth, and you just fill those with water. So I'm okay with that. If you're telling me that we're basically just floating islands, and if you go down far enough, you're just in a world of water.
And then you pop up on the other side.
Dude, imagine getting in a pool like that. You just get in a pool and there's no bottom. And you're just, this is fun. That's terrifying.
No, you need the bottom. The bottom's huge.
I agree. Yeah. I think you need the bottom. I'm just saying sometimes when you think about like, there's just like the bottom of the earth right there. It's just a weird thing to think about.
I mean, you're standing on the bottom of the earth. Like, what do you mean?
Well, that's what's weird. I agree with Frankie. That's what's weird, that like he's standing on the bottom of the earth, just like that bottom of the earth that's 10,000 feet below like Antarctica. That seems crazy that those two things would be equal. They're both the bottom of the earth. Like one
same with the
is
top of
so
Mount Everest.
drastically different. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just talking about sea level. What are we talking about?
There's monsters down there, though. There's monsters.
Yeah. I saw Batman.
I don't know, man.
Did you guys see
Kinda
Batman?
trippy.
No, I didn't see Batman.
It's a great movie.
Any non-spoiler review that you want to give?
It's a fantastic film, and that's what it is. Right. It's a film.
Okay.
It's you got to go see it in the movie theater. The performances, the acting, Robert Pattinson, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The directing is insane, and let me tell you something: the music and just the cinematography. I multiple times said "wow" as things were happening, and I haven't done that in a movie maybe ever. Like just like Batman on like just riding his car and just like on a chase or something. The way they shot it and the graphics and everything, I said, wow, that's fucking cool. Like, I was like out loud, like, wow. So that's my review of Batman, is that I think, here's something that I'm going to say that people might not like. Taking the individual performance of Heath Ledger of the Joker as its own thing, like that's the greatest performance in a Batman. I think this is the best Batman movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
Storyline, engagement.
Some of those Batmans have been fantastic. So
they're fantastic, but like Heath Ledger like leads those. Like you need the Joker like in those scenes. Like Christian Bale's great.
I think you're onto something, because Robbie Fox, who was my old roommate and who is the biggest Batman fan in the world, he has a Batman tattoo. It's his favorite.
What did he say?
He said it's his favorite Batman movie. He thinks The Dark Knight is still number one, but the way he phrased it to me was that like this movie it's a Batman movie, where it's like it feels like the Batman that Batman is supposed to be, where he's just beating the shit out of bad guys over and over again. Yeah. And that's the kind of Batman that Robbie likes, that he thinks is like the traditional Batman, and he knows more about Batman than anybody. So he's agreeing with what you're saying.
So I didn't read the comics. I don't know what Batman's supposed to be. I don't know what like the poster child Batman's supposed to be. I've heard it's supposed to be a detective in the streets, in the shadows. Like I think they got away from that with the Christian Bale Batmans, where he's like the lavish, always having parties, and he's like, he's the richest guy. Obviously, everyone knows that. But this Batman is dark and he's twisted, and it's fucking awesome. I loved every part of it. There's no smiles in the movie. It's a dark movie, so yeah, it's
a Rob movie.
It's one of mine. It's one of mine for sure.
Last thing before we throw it, I'm going to see it. I'm very excited to see it. Arnaban Lahiri 322nd ranked player in the world, gave this thing a damn good try. He was sort of the people's kind of choice, it felt like, for a lot of folks. The story, being that high in the world rankings coming down the stretch, you could tell how badly he wanted it. There's so many things to talk about that I'm glad that we did not skip him, but I just wanted to give him a shout out. He was an absolute warrior this week. He got over $2 million for his second place finish. I feel like I see him mostly just like on the European tour all the time, but awesome performance out of him. He was just he just kept hanging around. He kept hitting big shots. Even after mistakes, he would get another birdie and get himself back in the tournament. So Lahiri was a hero this week. He worked really hard. He came up one shot short, and he just battled. So it was nice to see. All right, we got Chris Lane coming up next. Reminder tonight, Max Homa, YouTube. Go check that out. I think that's all I got, boys. You got anything else?
8 p.m. YouTube. Be there.
Quick question. I did a stupid Mr. Larson shoot for Frankie's film. Heard you X-nayed that, Frankie. Any reason why?
Well, no, I actually didn't. So I actually didn't
start from the beginning.
Take that out. So here, all right. So basically, what happened was we have this idea for this promotional video. For our new merch line, spring collection. It's amazing.
Lurch. There we go.
Spring merch line.
Well, we were looking for spring lurch. Yeah, that's what we were looking.
Everyone's
for.
like, "What should be the idea be?" Allison and Pilar texted us and were like, "Oh, it'd be funny if you guys like played the piano." We were like, "That would be kind of funny. Like, how do we spin just playing the piano?" Because obviously that like is kind of like the tournament that's coming up after the Valspar. And I was like, "All right, like." Maybe we'll do like a Happy's Place type thing from Happy Gilmore where Trent, you need to walk through like whatever with beer. Amazing. And just doing spring things. So we all did a spring thing. I rode a bike. Riggs picked up acorns. Trent just walked with beer, which is very springy. And then Lurch was like, all right, like I'll do the scene where he runs with the jacket. And we're all kind of like, well, like now you're just doing Happy Gilmore movies, which is, I actually wrote to you in the group. That's actually really funny. We'll just splice that in, but it's definitely not a spring thing, but do it. And then you're like, well, I'll leave it open to suggestions. And we're like, oh, why don't you just like plant a flower? You ended up, I don't know, raking a leaf, but no one saw what you did because whoever filmed it just didn't get the action of actually what you were doing. They just missed it. So then we just put the video together and that was it. That's all I heard from it. We put the video together. It was done. This morning when we were doing our interview, producer Jake Bass says, you guys wouldn't believe all the like extra cuts that Lurch sent to us. And we said, well, now we have to see those. And you legitimately did a storyboard of Happy Gilmore scene by scene. And did you do lines? Like, did you actually speak the lines into the...
No, there's only one line. It's
and
like,
you said it.
Hey, I believe that's Mr. Gilmore's or something like that.
And you did it.
And then, yeah, I did that one line. And then Mr. Larson takes off running over the hill. So I mimicked.
You thought it was like an audition or something.
I just thought it'd be really funny. I put on the t-shirt, like wear some different merch of ours and kind of...
I don't disagree. I think there is a funny element to that. I think it's definitely... The only reason we just didn't know that you did all that. So, we now have the video.
I didn't know the video was going to be these like small kind of quiet things either. Like I didn't know what people were getting at with these Happy Gilmore kind of like installs. So I was like, okay, like what could I do that's somewhat in line with that I think you could also wear different pieces of clothing and kind of act up. So that's where my mind went.
We're going to have to put it in the we're going to have to put it in the YouTube version of this podcast for sure. So that's just something, Jake, you got to put that in, and then we'll just tweet that out. That's just...
Let's put out a cutting room floor, Lurch's Happy Gilmore performance.
And I would like to echo Frankie's sentiment. I think that is very funny, and I also think to the point where, depending on how it goes, I want you to act out the whole movie, and we'll make that part of something. But like
from what we saw, it was a phone being shown through the screen from Jake, and from what we saw, it looked at it almost like you were trying to match up the way it was filmed. Also, you like had the camera
hiding, running over the hill, pretending I was Shooter McGavin, putting on the jacket as I was running, and then I tried to do the Mr. Larson where he's like...
I think Lurch remakes movie scenes that we choose could be something that I would be very interested in.
I think there's something there. You say,
Woodwatch.
You've got to remake this scene, and I'll try to do it my best.
Remember when he just did that Miss Doubtfire one that we just didn't put out? It's like... we were like, it was another promo, and we're like, hey, we're just gonna like take a video of us like wearing the clothes, and you were like, hello, and you're like, you're dressed as a woman, and we're just like,
that's when I was doing those indoor mini golf videos for a second.
Oh yeah, we were like, dude, why are you dressed as?
I ordered a burger and a beer or something, and I mimicked being the girl and then the guy ordering it. Yeah, those were some funny.
Bro, this sounds like a real passion for you.
I think you should pursue that passion.
Well, maybe. Give me
say
another idea. We'll see how this one goes. Let's not jump the gun on this idea.
Okay.
The only thing I'm confused about is Frankie said, so I think we should all do a specific spring thing. I was thinking like planting a flower, riding a bicycle. Whatever you're going to do, just send what you decided to do in here so we don't do the same thing. I'm going to do the bike one. I'll do a piano shot too of me starting the video. Could even step outside your front door with your golf clubs and look up at the sky and smile and maybe take a deep breath of fresh air. And somehow that resulted in you doing Mr. Larson.
Well, so
you don't read the text messages. Just admit that.
Yes,
that's true.
Yes, no, I did. But then I saw T was doing the beer through like the sprinkler. So I was like, okay, like now we're going this way, so I'll do this. And
something perky. Like, okay, now we're doing movie scenes.
You gave him too much. Just
okay, now we're doing movie scenes. Okay, Mr. Larson.
It's go time for Lurch.
Oh, now you got my juices flowing. We're doing movie
now
scenes.
I see what you're doing. Now I see what you're doing.
All I needed to hear.
That's right.
So if he sees a thumbs up, he's gonna do the fucking like Gladiator or something next. Like just anything that just ignites that movie brain.
Kill my neighbor. Just nope, you're gone. Thumb down.
Oh,
See ya.
boy, that was funny.
Anyways,
all right. Chris
8 p.m.
Lane is
tonight.
coming up tonight. Max Homa Scramble. Awesome video.
2-hour video, by the way. 2-hour video.
2-hour video on YouTube. We got Chris Lane, phenomenal musician, great guy. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
hit it hard.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good, man. Just trying to get through this golf tournament. Just watching this players. You been watching it all?
Yeah, so I was out on the road in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and New York, and it was killing me yesterday because the TV on the bus wouldn't work because we were in between a bunch of buildings. So I was watching a little bit on my phone throughout the day, but didn't get to watch nearly enough of it. The service on the bus was pathetic.
That's got.
But I'll be watching all day today.
I kind of like the Monday finish because it's like there's nothing else really going on, and you can just kind of hone in and watch. So I've been like glued. I got it right here. So if I'm distracted, I'm watching these guys. Our boy Kiz is looking pretty good.
Is he?
Yeah, he's he's 6 under. Leader's 9 under, and there's a million guys at like 8 and 7. So anything could happen.
Yeah, it's a good leaderboard for sure.
How's tour life? You're back on tour life now. I think last time we talked to you, we were mid-pandemic.
Yeah, touring life has been amazing, man. Just happy to be back out there playing in front of real people and hearing people scream the words, and it's been unreal. It's good to be back.
I mean, you're relentless. I'm looking at this right now. I mean, it is just March 17th, March 18th, March 19th, March 25th, March 26th. How is that just for you? I mean, we bitch nonstop. We have to travel. We have to go to, Bandon Dunes for 6 days. And then after that, we got to go to Pittsburgh for a Barstool Classic, and we complain about it. I mean, I'm looking at this. You're just playing live music in different states every fucking night.
Bro, you're out there living the life right now. It is a lot traveling. I mean, you're not wrong. Traveling is honestly really hard. It's exhausting, but you know what? We're all lucky that we get to go do what we do, and playing music's my passion. So I'm lucky that I get to go out there and do that as much as I get a chance to do it. And then, the other beautiful part, and we probably touched on this last time, but the other beautiful part is that I'm obsessed with golf, and one of the other great parts of being out on the road is that you can get up in the morning, you can go play a great round of golf somewhere, and then you get to play music at night, and it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's not a bad
It's
gig.
incredible. No, I mean, it's incredible how many musicians that just syncs up perfectly for. I mean, I remember like Michael Jordan used to get shit during the playoffs because then, a day off in between games or even some game days, he would go play golf in the morning. But it's like, what's the difference between sitting in a cart really and kind of rolling around, hitting a few shots, and just sitting in your hotel room for 4 hours, really, or on their bus for 4 hours? Really not that different.
Yeah. I agree. MJ had it figured out. That's for sure.
So is that a pretty normal routine for you? I mean, when you're playing that night, you get up in the morning, play around. Does that like kind of ease you a little bit, get your mind off it?
Oh yeah, for sure. My tour manager knows that is the one, and I'm usually the one who ends up setting up my own golf because from being out on tour for all these years now, I just know a lot of people that will say, hey, every time you're back in this area, let's go out here. Like this week, I'm going to do TBC Sugarloaf down in Atlanta. And then when we go to Charlotte, going to play over at Quail. And then Greenville, going to play over at a place called The Cliffs. So it's going to be a fun week of golf for me. But I try to do that every single time that I'm out on the road. In the winter time, it's kind of hit or miss. But West Coast, I got some great golf in about a month ago. I
like you got – it's like ticket request, tour manager, handle that. All the other BS, tour manager, handle that. It's like golf. You're like, no, I'll book the golf. It's fine.
Yeah. You got to make sure to get out at the best course possible.
Yeah.
Is there one stop on the tour that you're looking forward to most, whether it be because of golf or for the venue?
You know what? I'm playing Chicago in a couple weeks, and Chicago, for whatever reason, is always a number one market for me. So I do enjoy going back there. One of my favorite shows I've ever played was at Wrigley Field, and the lineup was awesome. Florida Georgia Line headline, and then Backstreet Boys went right before them. Then Nelly went right before them, and then I went right before him. It was a really cool show. But then this weekend, Charlotte. I graduated from UNC Charlotte, so right down the road from the venue that I'm playing. I grew up going to this venue to watch all the other country artists play that I'll be playing, and I'm excited to go back home. Even though hometown shows can be a little stressful because everybody wants tickets, and it's like, guys, I don't get that many tickets. Like I can't just be handing them out left and right. They unfortunately don't. I'm gonna have to start buying tickets for everybody.
Why do you think Chicago is such a big market for you? You ever think about that?
No, I have no clue. I know in general they have a lot of great country fans there, and it may be other artists' number one markets. But when you can break down numbers and look at streaming and all that kind of stuff, they're always at the top for me every single time. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's the style of country that I sing or what.
Chicago's always an interesting city to me too, because it's, if you look at like the big three in the US, LA, obviously, like West Coast, New York, East Coast, they each got their own identities. Chicago's the only like major huge city that's Midwestern as well. So I feel like that could be a big part of it. But Chicago's always to me been different than the other two. It's like the other two are like, LA, people complain about traffic and how jammed and intense it is. And New York's obviously got what it's got and how congested and like hardened people in the Northeast are, where I don't know, Chicago's a mix of like Midwestern but big city. So I don't know, maybe it's something to do with that.
Heck yeah, they got some good pizza there, that's for sure.
You like that Chicago dish style, yeah.
You know what? I am a thin crust guy, but at the end of the day, there are Giorgianos or Giordano's, whatever it's called, is pretty fire, and it's pretty thick though. That's the only thing.
I feel like people shit.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of those right on that street, like Luminati's. They've got.
I feel like people shit on deep dish for some reason, but it's like I know it's gonna be Frankie. When I say people, it's Frankie because it's not pizza. You think it's like lasagna?
I don't shit on it. No, I don't shit on it. It's just a full meal. Like you can't. That's not. I wouldn't call it a pizza. You're not grabbing a pizza, bringing it home, and like just crushing slices of pizza. It's its own meal. It's you have to eat it with a fork and a knife. The whole thing is stuffed to the gills with sauce and toppings, and it's hidden from you. You don't know what the hell you're getting. You know what the one thing I hate about deep dish pizza?
What?
Is if you get your own personal one, right? Or let's say like you're ordering a pizza and then your buddy's ordering a pizza. I did this with Dave actually. Dave and I both got 2 pizzas to take back to our hotel rooms. He was going one way, I was going another way. And we both got I got toppings in mine, he didn't. And you don't know which one has toppings in it until you bite into it. I mean, that's absolutely insanity, right? Because the toppings are all like stuffed inside. The sauce is on top of the cheese. I mean, what if someone's like alert? I mean, it's full-blown chaos, the fact that they stuff all these things inside. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get half pepperoni and peppers on a pizza, and I'm sitting down with you and I want to bite into that, I'm just gonna bite into your side even though I didn't want that. It's absolute chaos.
Explain it one more time. Give me one more example.
Don't be a fucking asshole.
Hey,
I like thin pizza too. I do too.
I've got to ask y'all. I'm so jealous. I've been watching y'all's videos. I mean, getting lessons from Rory McIlroy and all these other guys. I mean, are you kidding me? How cool is that?
How nuts was the Rory video? I mean, we were talking about it after, we've talked about it since, and it's almost one of those where I don't even remember being there. Like when I'm watching the footage, I think, were we actually there? Did that happen? Was I in that moment? How did I pull the club back when he was standing there? Like I don't. Well,
you didn't really.
Nuts.
You like barely hit the ball, but
I actually picked up club head speed just like everybody else did. So thank you.
Well, your first one was like 85 miles an hour. I actually forgot how into it he got about. I actually forgot about how into it he got about all of the little things. Like I didn't remember him talking that much. I guess I was just staring at him for most of the time and not actually listening to him. So it was actually really cool to watch back and listen to actually what he was trying to teach us, because in the moment, you're kind of just looking at him and everything. It almost felt like a movie where it's like, like you're not actually listening to a word he's saying. You're like, that's just Rory McIlroy. I'm looking at his face, looking at his pecs, looking at his biceps. I'm like, wow, this guy's fucking ripped. It was awesome.
Right. The part that I remember the most is right before he got there, because I remember we were just like milling about, and at one point we're just like, at some point Rory McIlroy is going to pull up on a golf cart here, and then we just have to basically entertain him for the next hour, so we better figure that out. And then like the rest of the guys, once he gets there, you're just in it, and you're like, I kind of black out, and you just hope that it goes well. The videos seem to come out pretty well, and we got another one coming out, but hanging out with a guy like that, and credit to him that he is as normal as you can be for a guy that's Rory McIlroy, which sounds crazy, but he actually is super down to earth and was very nice and very generous to us. But the whole thing was insane.
I mean, yeah, I would have been so nervous to step up. And it's like, what does it truly matter? Like what he's not going to like hate on you. You know what I mean? If you hit a bad ball, but in our minds as golfers, you just want to hit the most perfect shot in that moment. I would have been way too nervous.
Well, last year Morikawa said that to us, where he was just like, who cares if you don't hit a good shot? What's the worst that's going to happen? You're just going to hit like another one in 10 minets. It doesn't, you're not going to hit bad shots forever. It doesn't, no one cares about that bad shot. So it is a good way to look at it. For you, what's a comparable meetup for you in the music world? Have you ever had to play in front of one of your idols or have to share the stage with someone that you couldn't believe you were out there with and you got kind of nervous?
Yeah. I've played some shows with Garth Brooks, and I feel like he's a pretty massive artist to do a show in front of, but was incredibly kind and nice. And I hear that he's that way with a lot of people. I'm also a diehard Kenny Chesney fan, and I was backstage at my first award show ever. Like right when I first got to Nashville, I just got my first song out there, and we were hanging out backstage where all the artists were at. And out of anybody that could have walked up to me, I don't know if he knew that I was like a big fan and that's why he did it, or I can't imagine that he knew, but he walked up to me and he was like, "Hey Chris, I'm Kenny. I just wanted to say that I love your song Fix." And I was like, "What? You actually know who I am at this point?" And then years later, I've done several shows with him now, and it's always the coolest thing in the world, because in college I would go get absolutely hammered and sit up on the lawn at the amphitheater, not ever knowing that one day I'd be doing the same daggone thing.
That is insane. Yeah, I can't imagine like listening. For us, yeah, it's like Rory. We've seen him on TV all the time, but like when you listen to someone like Garth, right, or Kenny, like you like feel like you know them so much because of their music, and as they're speaking to you, probably are like, "What the hell is actually happening right now?" They're not singing to me; they're actually just talking to me.
Yeah, you know, I would probably because I love golf so much, I would be way more starstruck by any golfer than I would any
wow.
That's crazy, but I get it. Like when you like something that much, when you're obsessed with something that much, I look at Kenny. So Kenny's first got me into country music. I borrowed a buddy's iPod for a road trip in college, and all he had on there was Kenny Chesney, and I never really listened to country music. So for 3 or 4 hours on the bus, that's all I listened to. And then the first really shows that I went to was he would do like Country Fest at Gillette, and I look at Kenny Chesney as like the ultimate performer. For you, as someone who's obviously doing shows, do you ever watch somebody like that and try to pick up from it?
100%. Yeah. I feel like I've learned everything that I've learned about entertaining on stage from watching him. I mean, I went to all those concerts back in the day, but yeah, you just pick up little things here and there, and just watch how he addresses the crowd, and just, I mean, everything about it is great. It's entertaining.
We do the same thing with golf on such a smaller scale, just on our own personal rounds of golf, right? Like whenever I watch, whenever we go to a golf tournament, you watch the way the pros will just approach a golf ball or practice. When we were out at Pebble Beach, I was trying to replicate just the way Tiger Woods like kind of chips before a round, and he just like stands up straight and stoic, and look, it's like you can't believe that's a man that's hitting a golf ball. So like it is funny to really pick up the little things like you're saying. Like we all really just look at all these guys, our idols, and try and find a little piece of them and bring them into our own lives.
100%.
So, Chris, I was looking, like I said, I'm going through this tour schedule, and it's just relentless. It's nonstop. You're performing all the time. You still get that adrenaline rush every night when you go out there, when you're getting ready to go out there?
Yeah, 100%. Taking the stage is one of the most exciting parts of the whole night, because it's like the you first walk out there, crowd goes crazy, and it is a great adrenaline rush. And at the end of the night, it's always hard to go to sleep. Like when you walk off stage, for me, it usually takes 3 hours. I mean, I usually jump into the shower, trying to wind down, eat a little food, and it takes me 3-4 hours before I can even fall asleep, because you're trying to come off of that high.
So you sleep in late on the road? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Well, yes and no. On the days that I play golf, I will sacrifice my body and I will get up early and I'll go play and not worry about the sleep. But on the days that I know it's going to be raining or freezing cold, I'll sleep in as long as I can possibly sleep in, knowing that I went to bed probably at 3 or 4 in the morning. And on that bus, dude, you just be bouncing around. I've got a big bed in the back, and it's just, the roads are so rough. You bounce around, you just don't sleep good. It's hard. It's hard to keep your voice when you're out on the road because you don't sleep great.
It's funny. All my buddies, they try to get up at for 8 o'clock for work, or for they got to go shopping that day or whatever, and it's just a grime. You give them a 7 a.m. tee time, they're up at like 5:30, swinging in the garage, like ready to rock. So you're just ready to go when it comes to golf, no matter what it takes.
I don't care how tired I am, dude. I will find a way to be ready to rock.
Listen to the SXM app at home or anywhere you are. No card required. Stream it all on your phone, online, or at home. 425 channels are on the SXM app. Enjoy ad-free music channels for every genre and artist-dedicated channels and more. Catch live play-by-play of games from every major sports league and 24/7 sports talk from the biggest names in sports. The SXM app also has PGA Tour Radio, which has live coverage from tournaments and the latest golf news. SXM app exclusives include ad-free extra music channels, podcasts including Sirius XM originals, and on-demand video of in-studio performances and interviews. Subscribe now and get your first 3 months for free of the SXM app. Visit SiriusXM.com/4playpod offer to sign up. Offer details apply. What's the tour bus like? Who makes the cut? Who all's on the bus? What's your scene like?
Yeah, so right now, I just have my twin brother on there. And then I carry my tour manager on there when my wife and little man's not out on the road. And we had planned on doing it a lot, or taking him out on the road a lot, but we've only done it one weekend now because it did not go well. So we're going to wait until he's a little bit older.
You ever send the twin brother out there to like say hi to people and make
to have, I used to get tagged in hundreds and hundreds of photos a night saying just met Chris Lane in it, but it was always a picture of him. And I started saying, dude, you just got to start telling people that it's not me, because they're going to start figuring it out that I have a twin brother. So yeah, now he goes out there and just takes photos on his own, and hopefully they don't think that they're taking a photo.
If I no offense, but if I were him, I would pretend I were you all the time, constantly.
I mean, you have.
I mean, what a gift that you have given him, that he can just walk around and be like, by the way, I'm Chris Lane. Like, what's up? Like,
Hey,
that sounds amazing.
I gave him an opportunity to. We did this one time, and now it's turned into a thing. But we were getting drunk before a show one night, and we were singing old Kenny Chesney songs, and he was singing the top of his lungs, and he was like, "Why don't you ever let me sing a song? I'm your twin brother." And I was like, you know what? They gave me an idea, and I put him on spot at the show one night, and he got up there and he sang, and the crowd went crazy. So then I started thinking about it. I was like, man, maybe I should just start doing this every night. So now every night during the show, I'll bring him out there, let him sing a song, because he plays drums all night long, and people go crazy for him. So now he's starting his own meet and greets and all kinds of crap out there.
Amazing. He's building a brand. You got to build a brand.
He wants to be the lead singer now. So
I love that.
Dude,
That's fantastic.
when you're writing a new song, I've always thought about this. When you're writing a new song, how do you know that like the riff or whatever you come up with or the melody hasn't been used before? Is someone like checking it, or like, because that's got to be so fucking hard now with all the music that's ever come out?
yeah. I mean, yeah.
How often does that happen to you where you're like, yeah, this is the one, and then someone's like, nope, that actually is the same exact sound as this guy?
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot, but at the same time, I think as writers, you're constantly thinking about that in the room. You're like, this melody feels so familiar because it's so easy. Like, has this been used before? Like, I feel like you're always on top of something. Like, it's hard not to be. There's only so many notes in a scale that you can sing, or only so many chords on a guitar you can play that's not going to feel like something else that's already been done. But yes, it's the thing that everyone has at the top of their mind, and you try to steer clear of if you're like, oh yeah, this is on top of this, or it does sound like this, so we need to change the melody a little bit, or we need to change one note to make it not the same, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's honestly hard not to do, because like you said, there's so much music out there. I mean, and only so many notes you can use. Something's going to sound the same eventually.
Yeah, because I was watching Get Back with the Beatles, and like, or actually, I always mix this up. It was another Paul McCartney documentary, but he was talking about how he was walking by a music store and heard just some guy play something that, basically a chord that, I think he calls it F demented. It wasn't even the real chord. And he's like, what the fuck was that? And then goes back to the recording studio and kind of played it, and it ended up in one of his songs. And it's like, I feel like at this point, 60 years from then, like we've played every single chord you can possibly play. Like no one has like that, ability to be able to just make up a new one anymore.
Yeah. There's not any more notes that you can
yeah.
I have a song too, that I'm about to put out, a song called Dancing in the Moonlight. And it's an interpolation of an old, I want to say 70s song called Dancing in the Moonlight. And the only thing that's the same is the Dancing in the Moonlight. Everything else was rewritten to a completely different song. But because we borrowed the Dance in the Moonlight phrase, the guy who wrote that song way back in the 70s, and the band was one hit wonder, but
is it the Dancing in the Moonlight?
Yeah.
Come on and feel the moment, riding just to find a natural sound.
Yeah.
I love that song. I fucking love that song.
Yeah, so now I've got a country version of that.
Oh my god.
And it feels pretty good, but the guy who wrote that song is now going to become a writer on this song because of the Dance in the Moonlight, which and rightfully so. He came up with that part, and we borrowed it.
I love those callbacks, and I feel like that's popular in country, like Taylor Swift with Tim McGraw, Eric Church with Springsteen, like that does. I feel like those play in country.
Yeah. I hope the song does as well. I'm going to throw a female artist on it and do a little duet kind of thing on it, and see what happens.
Now, how does that come about? Did you happen to listen to that song and be like, man, this would be an awesome country song?
Yeah. Not necessarily with that song, but it feels like it could be, like that phrase could be a cool little country song.
Yeah.
It just needed to be rewritten in a certain way. And feel like we nailed it. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see if people like it or not. But
how long is that process from the time you start to write a song to when it's, you know, actually laid down and then put out?
man, it can be. I mean, on my song "Big Big Plans," it took 3 different times to get back into the room and finish that song because we didn't know where to take it. Like we had some of the chorus, then we tried to write verses, and then wrote a whole bunch of stuff, and then said this isn't good enough, and then said, well, let's find another time to get back together. And then there's other songs that happen in 45 minutes, or it may take a couple hours, whatever. Especially if all the writers are clicking in the room that day. But sometimes everybody's just like, man, it's a Monday, I can't think straight. Like, let's find a different day to get together, and you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But love when it comes together.
Oh, it's got to be the best feeling ever. Every time I watch a music documentary, it's just like I want to be a part of that moment when something fucking clicks. Even on the Kanye documentary and Genius, like when they're just like, when something clicks, everyone in the room's like, "Oh shit, that's it right there. That's it right there. That's gonna make us fucking millionaires." Like everyone's like, "That's it. We're done." I wish I could be a part of that, man. That's the coolest feeling ever.
Heck yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know, actually. I'm assuming it's
you're
reportedly.
You're just
Reportedly
a podcaster instead.
God.
Dude, I'm looking at this, Chris. I'm looking at something. I mean, Take Back Home has 171 million streams. You got 167 million, 118 million for Big Big Plans. You ever think about how many times that is that people are listening to those songs?
Man, it's crazy. Like I you know, coming from a small town in North Carolina, writing my own music and then finding my way to Nashville when people started flying out to watch me play is it's crazy thinking back to those times and when I was driving the daggone van through the middle of the night to play to nobody and all that it ends up getting to this point. But, you know, hopefully, and I'm praying that I've only scratched the surface and that I can find a way to keep it going and keep finding success, because I feel like in the music industry, you're only as good as your last song, because there's always somebody looking to take your place. It kind of like it is in the golf world too. There's always somebody looking to step in and you know, take the tour card or take.
How many listeners right now are getting absolutely triggered by that mail notification that's popping up right now? They're just sitting there on their way to work, and it's just like boom, and they're like, "Fuck, my boss is fucking emailing me right now."
Can y'all
listen to this awesome interview with Chris Lane? It's just like.
Can y'all hear that coming through?
Yes, it's fine. Dude, when we stream,
no,
it's okay. It's fine.
He's on his wife's iPad. Like, how the fuck do I turn this thing off?
Dude, when we stream, when Trent and I stream the video game at night, like for some reason, whenever it comes through my system and I get an email, it'll send that notification out onto YouTube, and every comment's like, my brain just broke in half. It's 10:30 at night. I got an Outlook Messenger like email, thinking it's fucking someone from like compliances. Oh god.
We should just start putting like Slack notifications randomly into the show.
That's mean.
Just see what happens to people. You mentioned earlier, you know, having a couple drinks before a show. Do you have like any rules around like drinking while performing? Do you just kind of let it roll? Does it matter? Do you ever like fake drink when you're, you know, like, is there anything to it, or do you not really care?
No, I don't really care. As long as I can remember the words and have a good time and the crowd has a good time, that's all I care about. I usually go with a little Casamigos, splash of lime Topo Chico and a lime in there and get after it, man.
Have you ever gotten to the point where you forgot the words during a show?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like that happens every night. I forget words every night, literally.
Just send your brother out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a common thing. I think a lot of artists forget words, but the best part about it is usually the crowd knows them. So you just turn the mic around until they can get you back out on track. But we also have these talkbacks on the stage that only we can hear as a band. And sometimes the band leader will go into the talkback and be like, the lyrics this, like, and get me back on track.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Anytime I've been to a concert and the person on stage messes up a lyric, the crowd loves it because you're like, oh, I'm not listening to the album. That's right. I'm here at the concert, and this is part of it. So it ends up being a cool moment.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Back in the day when I first started playing music, if I would forget the lyrics, I would freak out because I'm like, oh my gosh, people are going to be like, this guy's pathetic. But now I realize it's just funny. And like you said, people do kind of like that in some sense because it's a real moment, and then they can take over, and it's just cool all the way around, you know?
Did you ever have that moment where you first heard your song on the radio, or is it too new age now where everything's on Spotify and digital and downloading?
Yeah, so I feel like I was still in that era where you went and listened to your song for the first time on accident. I mean, I was in my hometown around Christmas time, and the station played my first song, "Fix." Sorry about that. I mean,
it's okay.
It's part of the show. I love
it. I hope they keep rolling in.
Rugs, they could not wait to send us a safe.
I was gonna say you're getting all the new things that she's like buying for the house. You're just seeing all the confirmations and all the delivery dates are just popping up.
I got this thing that I do with the UPS and the FedEx guy who are here every day dropping off some package, and my wife's my wife just gets sent a whole bunch of stuff, but I always say the same thing to them every day. I'm like, what has she bought now? And they think it's the funniest thing every time that they're dropping something off. Like, yeah, you guys get a lot of packages here.
Wait, so you were in your hometown and you heard it?
Oh, yeah. So I was in my hometown. Sorry, I have ADD.
That's okay.
So you're getting all these emails.
Yeah, in my hometown, just I was driving to the grocery store.
Oh, God, you're done.
How do I cut this off?
That was perfect.
I love it.
So perfect. Let's see if we can get through the story. I wonder. So you're in your hometown. It's Christmas time.
Yeah, and I was running to the grocery store for my mom, and I heard it come on the radio for the first time. And it was the most exciting thing in the world. I actually pulled over into a gas station so I could get it on video because I didn't want people yelling at me for videoing while I was driving. So I pulled over, got a little video of it, and it was incredibly exciting. Now every time my song's on the radio, my parents think that they have to call me to say, honey, your song's on the radio. You don't have to call me every time you hear it now. But yeah, it's
kind of sweet.
It's always
it's awesome.
Always an incredible moment to hear. Even from that moment all the way till now, I still get incredibly excited.
That's fantastic. I love that. I was thinking, man, I might be around. I might have to go to this Charlotte show.
Oh,
I don't think,
bro, come to the Charlotte show.
It's like 2 hours. I'm gonna be in North Carolina. I think I might have to go. It's Saturday night, right?
Friday night, I think. Yeah, Friday night in Charlotte. Sold out, but obviously
Friday night.
Obviously,
now I'm gonna be the guy. Now I'm gonna add to the list of people begging for tickets. Now I feel like an asshole.
No, come on, dude. Come on. I got some of the Panther players. I got some NASCAR guys. Just come hang.
You got Riggs, just the podcaster, just roll it in. All these athletes around.
It'll be fun. I'll create a little outside the bus vibe hang. It's supposed to be 75 degrees. It's going to be incredible.
I mean, now now you're selling it. I think I got to go.
You got to go. Seriously, you want to come? Any of y'all, whoever wants to come, just let me know. And obviously I'll make sure you're taken care of. You can just walk in with me.
You're amazing. Walking in with you, the way you just said that, it gave me chills.
Walking with me.
Walking in with new song. Walking in with me.
Walking in with me.
Dude,
hey, I've been working on this. I've been working on this rewrite of a old Brad Paisley song, and I'm turning it into a golf song.
Yes.
And do you remember the old fishing song from Brad Paisley? Anybody remember that song?
What was it? Hold on. I used to love Brad Paisley. I went on like a big Brad Paisley kick, but he's got like, when I'm in like my feels, I'll listen to Brad Paisley because he's like a big love song guy. I mean, I know it's country music, but still.
Yeah. So he had an old song called, it's called Fishing, but it was the premise of the song is I'm gonna miss her. So I wrote a golf version of the Well, I love her, but I love to golf. Spend all day out here on this course, and hell is all I catch. Today she met me at the door, said I would have to choose if I play another round today. She'd be packing all her things, and she'd be gone by noon. And then it goes, well,
Yes.
I'm gonna miss her when I get home, because right now I'm on this par 4 and I'm having me some fun. I'm sure it'll hit me when I walk through that door tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her. Oh, looky there, another bird.
Amazing.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yep.
You got to do it.
Help me think about the second verse, because I've been working on it and I feel like I've got it close. And it's like, what else could I say? Golf references in the sense of there's a chance that if I hurry, I could beg her stay, but is it like, but the cart girl's hot and this beer tastes perfect. No telling how low I might go today, kind of thing. You know?
Ooh, yeah.
I like the no telling how low I could go today.
Yeah, I know. I got to piece it together, but that's something I've been working on. I'm gonna record it, and I feel like what we should do is get a bunch of guys to sing on the course of it. So we get all of y'all. I'll get some of my Nashville artist buddies, and we'll create this huge golf song that's played before every golf outing for the boys on Saturdays or Fridays or when everybody goes to play.
I love it.
We do need a golf anthem, you know. It's gotta be like it's gotta be a golf pub anthem where like you get there, you're about to get out to the first tee, you're sitting at the bar, and you all cling your beers together, and you go out there and you play. I can visualize it.
There's a market for that.
That's right.
It's right here. You're looking at it. This is the market.
Heck yeah.
I would laugh at how long do you think it would take us on this podcast for us to actually help you write a song? I mean, we're not songwriters of this generation.
We could write a song in 30 minutes if we wanted to. I can't promise you it would be good if we wrote it that fast. we wouldn't be overthinking anything. Just be like, yeah, that's good. Let's move on.
It'd be you coming up with like sweet ideas and us nodding our heads being like, no, that's
awesome.
it. Yeah, really good. Oh, I love that.
I've written a poem or two in my day. You know, I can rhyme.
Dude, come out to the show this weekend if you're going to be around. Where are you at? Are you down in Pinehurst?
I'm in Pinehurst. I gotta go. I think I'm going for like a day or two. I gotta leave town, but I think I'm gonna come back Wednesday. So if I'm here, it's only like 2 hours to Charlotte. So I'm thinking I might as well just go.
Dude, bring it on.
All right.
That sounds like an amazing night. If you pass that up, you're insane.
You gotta go.
I think we're going. There's just no stopping it at this point.
Hey, come on, I'll get it dialed in.
Walk in with me. Well, I'm gonna follow up. Let's do it. Let's go to a show. I can't wait to talk next week on this show about going to Chris Lane's show in Charlotte.
Let's go, baby.
Awesome.
All right, man. We appreciate the time. This shit's fascinating. Everybody listens to music. Everybody. So kind of hearing about the process and what it's really like and being a rock star. They say every athlete wants to be a rock star and every rock star wants to be an athlete. I think they do that for a reason. So it's just really cool hearing it. We love that you're into golf. We got to get out sometime and play. And man, I'm going to come to a show. I'm going to see you Friday night.
Let's go. Heck yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, brher. We appreciate it.
Man.
Thanks,
See you, Chris.
See y'all.
Better check those emails. You got a lot unread.
Yeah, seriously. Going to figure out how to cut those off now.
See you, man.
See you, Chris.
All right, see y'all.
Hey, that jacket's Mr. Madison's.